Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to round one of the Lower South West Football League. Boyup Brook versus Deanmill here from Boyup Brook Oval. James Gardner is my name, and joining me in the commentary box today is Nigel Reeve. Good afternoon to you, Nigel.
Yeah, good afternoon, James. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. Boyup Brook defending premiers from last year, and Deanmill will be smarting after being in the top two with about 3 rounds to go and let it slip. We've got knocked out in the first semi, so it should be a really good game for them.
Deanmill have won the toss. They're kicking to the left of screen in the first term here on Filming Footy. Great to have your company for your Saturday afternoon. As mentioned, Boyup Brook, they were the 2024 premiers, defeating Kojonup by 17 points, while Deanmill lost by just 4 points to Imperials. They kicked 4-11 after finishing third, and they will be fired up. Nigel, what are the keys to the game for both sides?
Well, just think about it, it's all about pre-season. Obviously, both teams have recruited quite well. Cooper Sparks comes back to Deanmill after spending a few years in Perth and Kerry Park a couple of years ago. David Cowan is back-to-back league medal winner, so they get behind those guys. Connor DeCampo's coming off an ACL injury and come back last year, but he'd be better for the run after 12 months in rehab. So it's just all about pace, using the width of the oval. Both really quick teams, so it should be a really good game. If we compare it to the rain we've had in the last couple of days, James, the ovals presented really well, so it should be a really quick game of footy here today.
Near on perfect day for football, bright blue skies. 22 degrees here in Boyup Brook. A thunderstorm passed through last night, fair bit of rain, and it is clear and sunny for today. Breeze is probably coming across the ground, if anything, from the outer side here to the broadcast wing, and so no real advantage early on for either side. Who do you think will win the game, Nigel, and why?
Look, I think Boyup Brook might win the game. They're at home, they've recruited well. Ash Wallam, who was an outstanding junior, played state country footy at 17, comes back in the side, hasn't played footy in the local competition for quite a few years, but he's outstanding, just coming up to 30 years of age. So for me, Boyup might be just slightly stronger. Interesting to see how Deanmill recruits go, but I'm picking Boyup at home.
Wedderburn and Hall to do battle in the ruck. Round one of the Lower South West Footy League about to get underway. Both sides keen to get off to a winning start. Boyup Brook defending champions. Deanmill, the Eagles, they finished third last year. They had a first round exit in the elimination final. Nice crowd in attendance on a beautiful day for football here out at Boyup Brook. Ready to go. Wedderburn and Hall to get things underway, and Hall with the decisive hit out falls to the feet of Michael, who's down scrapping away. Ball spills free, and we're going to get locked up, and another throw up just metres away from where we began the game. Hall again gets the front position, both hit out so far, falls to Gianardi, extracted it away off half back is Hanson. Handed it to the runner, and then a nice little chipping ball over the top, but it's going to land in the lap of Sparks, who strolls in and kicks the first for Deanmill. A perfect start for the Eagles. Away from home, the first of the season goes to Sparks.
It's a little bit sloppy there by Hanson, trying to come inside the corridor. I think he's a natural left footer, so just missed his target by metres, and Cooper Sparks doesn't miss opportunities like that and ran into an open goal. Something that Boyup Brook don't want to do today is give away easy goals, and that was one of them to start this season off.
Hall's getting on top in the middle. Is that a concern early for Boyup Brook?
Oh, look, he's a big fella. Once you settle up next to him, about 6'7", he's a cousin of Clay Hall that does play for the West Coast Eagles, so he can definitely play. He's got a basketball background as his bread and butter, so it's probably nothing to be concerned about unless they win it out of the middle every time he does win the ruck knock. So it is an important part of the game, but winning it out of the centre is the most important part of the game, so Boyup Brook will have to tighten up in the middle.
1 goal straight to nothing, early stages. Round one, Boyup Brook against Deanmill. From the restart, Hall has had the upper hand early against Wedderburn. And again, he wins it down, but it's not to his side's advantage. Ball bobbles away, and it's eventually kicked forward with a clearing kick by Kings to left half forward. Knocked away from the intended target in Staniford Smith. They still have possession here, Boyup Brook out on the outer side. There's been a whistle on play, and there's a free kick going the way of Gleeson. He goes short. The defending half for Deanmill. The target is there for Hall, the big ruckman, at a true centre-half back position. They're happy to just chip their way through, and a 50-metre penalty's been called. So Hall will march this to past the centre of the ground. They had set the ground up well, Boyup Brook. Deanmill going to just chip their way through. Instead now, they are within scoring distance with Hall. At the top of the 50. Plenty of movement in the Eagles forward line. Sets it up to the top of the goal square. 2-on-2 ahead of the ball. Comes off hands. Triggles towards the boundary line. Somehow kept in here for Hanson, who handballs it over the top to no one's advantage. Deanmill again through to Campo. Goes short. They've been able to set this ground up nicely to the run of Cahill. Hands it to the runner again in Reeves. And he hits up a nice chipping ball directly in front here for Strawn. 45 metres from home for a perfect start for the Eagles.
Just another missed handball there by Hanson. He's getting enough of the ball down back for Brook, but his first couple of possessions have missed the target and given Deanmill an opportunity to have a score. So Strawn will come in from 50. James, he's one of their new recruits. Big raps on him, so let's see how he goes from 50 metres out directly in front.
Looks a big target. The kick is on its way. It holds its line, but it just fades to the left. So the first blemish for Deanmill, and on the scoreboard they lead at 1-1-7. Boyup Brook yet to score. They've only had the one inside 50, Boyup Brook, so far living in the forward half of the Eagles.
It sure is, and it's one of my bugbears. I only mentioned it once, but this standing rule, it's not one of my favourite decisions, so you can't do much on the mark now, and I think that 50-metre penalty was because of that, so they've got to be careful with that one, all players.
Free kicks being kicked out for Cowan. Booming kick to right half forward, 1-on-1 ahead of the footy, and at the mark's taken by Wallum. He plays on, strides inside 50, not the greatest of kicks, it's going to hold up in the breeze, and in the end goes over and out. Either had to go for goal or go for the option. In the end, did neither.
Yeah, great passage to play there by Wallum, using his body. He's playing a really good player in Blake, so that'll be a great match-up to watch throughout the whole game.
Nusitano with a nice spoil, spills to the front for Saunders, goes for goal with a little trickler on the last line of defence. Reeve was there to relieve it away, blasting it to right to left half back, and they're able to extract it again, the Eagles. Down the outer side they head. Strawn comes off his chest, spoilt away nicely by Thompson, but they're able to get the run going here. The maroon and gold goes inside 50. Nice mark taken on the chest of Nusitano. On that occasion it was DeCampo, and then inside 50 they head again for another option, and the chance to add a second goal and the first for Reeves to get his day going. It's not, if he can...
Blake Easton's peeled off half-back to make himself an option going forward, and distance won't be a problem for the left footer.
East directly in front, comes off the side of the boot and misses the lot.
Let off there for Boyup Brook, but they're getting carved up. Deanmill are going short and hitting their target so far, so Boyup Brook just needs to man up as this game progresses.
From the kick in to the broadcast side they head, and they're unmanned mark there for Cahill, uncontested, plays on, steps around the mark, strides to the top of the 50, and a nice chipping ball forward, finds the option unselfishly to Reeve. In the bright fluorescent green boots, he takes the mark on the 45, 30 odd metres out from goal. He'll be kicking right into the teeth of this breeze. Runs around to open up the arc. It's a nice looking ball. Does it have the legs? It doesn't, and it comes off hands. Minor score only. But they extend the margin to 1-8. Boyup Brook one behind here in the first quarter. Round one in the Lower Southwest Footy League. 2-on-1. The numbers will win out here for Deanmill with Cahill on hands and knees, flicked it out the back door. Barber was able to hand it to Reeve, who just made a little blemish before, puts it inside 50, Strawn the target. How does the bounce hit for him? Does it okay, keeps it inside the field of play. Benchmore was there, it spills though away, and the kick from Fowler goes across the face and out of bounds on the full. Another mistake and a chance to put another score on the board, goes begging for the Eagles.
Boy, Brook have had a couple of let-offs here, so as much as the ball's lived in Deanmill's forward line for the major part of this opening quarter, they've let Brook off the hook by not capitalising on their good work.
Did the same in the elimination final, the Eagles. They kicked 4-11 that day, went down by 4 points. Been able to keep it locked inside their forward half of the ground though. The ball spills away. Tempera this time throws it on the boot. It travels towards goal. It's there. Deanmill with their second, Tempera with his first, and they're finally making Brook pay for their mistakes.
Just great reward for effort there by the Deanmill Hawks as they had plenty of the ball, and Brook Tempera is an awesome kick of the footy, and from 50 metres he's put that one straight over the goal umpire's hat. So Deanmill made the most of the amount of ball they've had and to get their second goal on the board.
The Eagles making all the plays so far. Brook lucky this scoreboard isn't hurting them too much. 13 points the margin. Ball is back in the middle of Brook Oval. Round one in the lower Southwest League. From the restart, both ruckmen had a piece of it. It spills the way of Brook again, although it's slapped forward and making a beeline for the footy on that occasion was Reeve. He handed it out the front door. Chain of handballs now for the Eagles. They go forward through Hall, who then goes out wide. Got it inside 50 yet again, the Eagles. 100% time in forward half. In their forward half just about. The chipping ball was nice, and Strawn out on the lead is wreaking havoc so far. This time a bit of a tougher kick for him. Already had one opportunity to score, couldn't take it. This time, a much tougher angle. For the Eagles, third of the afternoon. Strawn on the approach, puts it across the face of goal. 3 from line to score.
So far, Deanmill's recruits have been quite prominent. James Cahill, Strawn, Gianardi, Cooper Sparks. So they need to keep an eye on them, the Brook Roos.
To the broadcast side, the Roos said there are a couple of players in it. A 2-on-2. Spills away for Cahill. Who's then caught holding the ball. Nice tackle by Cowan.
Yes, not too many people get away from his tackles if you look at the size of him. Terrific player for Brook.
In neutral territory, Cowan goes inside 50. Wallum can take it on his chest, right on the 50-metre arc for Brook. Goes to the top of the goal square. It's a sea of maroon and gold jumpers. It could end up okay, though, for the Brook Roos. Although the clearing kick wasn't great, it's still alive here. Cowan is able to stop and prop, tried to shrug the tackle. Got the handball away just in time, but it was straight to Reeve, who then goes short, and the mark's taken on the defensive 50 by Fowler. Goes out wide to the outer side, 2-on-2, in favour of the Eagles. But the free kick's picked out. Outer side, 14 points the margin so far in favour of the Eagles, the visitors today. Not the greatest looking kick from behind. Having to make the play was Michael with the spoil to the front of the contest. There's been another whistle on play, and it's the throw going the way of Deanmill.
Just need a goal before quarter time here, Boyup, and I think they would have halved that quarter considering the amount of footy that Deanmill have had so far.
Trying to get it to the back of the contest. Good one-on-one presented. Ball spills loose, and there's been another free kick picked out for a throw. Going the way of Bleachmore. Not a whole lot ahead of the footy that really excites him, so he goes laterally. Kick had to be good. It was to Kings, not far enough, said the umpire. Play on, quickly got the hands away to Mead, who dumps it to centre wing. Dangerous signs here for the Roos. It's still in the forward half of the Eagles. Slapped forward. Away they come again through Fowler. Hands it away. Back inside 50. And the mark taken uncontested. He plays on. Strolls in. And the Eagles have their third. Danger times here for Brook, the reigning premiers.
Sparks. I think it was Sparks that got that one. That's his second for the quarter. So just a bit loose, Brook in the full on. They're peeling off their players, and Deanmill are finding space, and Sparks has played on at every opportunity he has in the forward line and gets his second goal for the quarter. So as much as that was a great tackle on Dimitri on the far wing there, James, it gave Boyup a relieving free kick. They've turned the ball straight over, and Deanmill capitalised on that one and put their third goal on the board for the quarter so far.
Midway through the first term, all positives for the visitors against the reigning champs. And they get this on-ball brigade of Deanmill are really starting to hurt the Boyup Roos. From the restart, they desperately need a score here to try and settle the nerves a little bit. Decky won the hit out. There's been a free kick picked out, going away of Brook again with Cowan. Plays on immediately, puts it inside 50. 2-on-1, great defensive grab taken. Put his body on the line, took the grab. On that occasion, it was Cahill.
He's been good, very good.
Comes to the broadcast wing, to centre wing, and a nice strong mark taken by Hall. Hands it to the runner in East, who puts it in front for his teammate Demetrio to run onto. Goes inside 50, spots the kick up. Strawn had it knocked away from him. To the front of the contest. Still dangerous times here as spinning out of trouble. They try and just be a little bit too cute there. Cowan relieves it. The handball from Park was too hot for his teammate in Cowan, but he gets the free kick for a hold. Finally, a little bit of pressure relieved for Brook, although the kick wasn't fantastic. As it rolls out of bounds, Michael couldn't get to it on the full.
They just look all at sea, don't they, coming out of the back line? The Deanmill are just putting pressure on them. They're just missing their targets. And as soon as they miss a target, Deanmill are pouncing and getting a decent shot on goal.
Just need a settler here, Brook. Deanmill aren't letting up, though. Reeve already had one opportunity to score today. Spots the kick, little 9-9 off the half volley. The kick screw around the corner there from Fowler. There's been a free kick picked out for a dangerous tackle after he disposed of the footy. And it will come back. He'll get a shot on goal.
You weren't talking about his height then, were you, James?
Maybe, definitely not.
He's only a short fella, Bodie Reed, but geez, he can play. He's got plenty of confidence, and yeah, he's certainly got a fair bit of the ball in this first quarter.
Fowler opens up the arc from 50. It's going to get all of the journey, and it's there. Deanmill are making the Roos pay for their mistakes. Fowler is on the board. The fourth for the quarter for Deanmill, and with 10 minutes still to play, there are alarm bells ringing for Brook.
Great kick there by Fowler. He's been really good in this first quarter. He's terrific in last year's reserves grand final. Kicked half a dozen goals and won best on ground. But that was a terrific kick, and I think it's just the pressure that Deanmill are putting on in the back line, and all of a sudden a sloppy free kick's given away, and Fowler, who's a terrific kick of the footy, knocks that one through from 50, and Deanmill are just edging away now. Brook really need a goal just to get their confidence up, but just to steady the ship at the moment.
I'm filming footy, Saturday afternoon footy from Brook. Round one in the lower Southwest Footy League. Again, Deanmill with the clearance. Comes out looking for Reeve. He's got time and space if he can gather cleanly. Had a couple of goes at it. Now invites the pressure from Park. Did well. Gave it away to Hanson. Said it's your problem to deal with. He was under pressure immediately. Comes to Reeve again. He's got time to give the hands away. And the kick comes from Nickel, who puts it through. And Deanmill are rolling here in the first quarter. 5 straight goals without reply from Brook, who can't even get their hands on the footy at the moment.
The two guys in Bodie Reeve and Blair Fowler are really cutting up on the broadcast wing here. In the last 2 or 3 forays forward, they've been involved in every score, and most of them have been goals. So Brook really need to tighten up on those two players especially, but they need to just lock the ball up in the middle to give themselves a chance to get the ball down. And Wallum does look dangerous when the ball's down there, but the ball's just not getting down there often enough. So a goal is desperation stakes here for Boyup at the moment.
Cowan off his shoe, wants to track it again, comes to the outer side. Inside 50 they head with Wallum, who takes it, screws around the corner, allows his teammate there in Hewdens to sit under the ball, and in the end, Cahill was able to relieve it to the outer side, the Eagles' head. Kick a little too hot for, it looked like Dimitri out there. The ball rolls out of play. We'll get a boundary throw in. left half forward for Boyup Brook. Their first chance to really score. Just the one behind so far for them. Free kick paid. There's the way of Boyup Brook with Michael, who goes inside 50. Wallum on the long lead. Fell short of him, had to then put his head over the ball and try and scrap it out. Eventually comes loose. Numbers around the footy, both sides well represented. Umpire lets them play and then says we'll have a ball up inside 50 for Boyup Brook, who would love to get a goal here. That's probably a little bit of an understatement. Deanmill so far have rattled on 5 goals to just the one behind. Trying to get through the contest was Wallum. Spills loose. Deanmill able to mop it up through to Campo. They eventually relieve it again away. Bounce the ball wasn't too kind though, and it invited Riley to come in, handed it away, dumping kick forward from Houghton. And it falls in the lap of Hallett. Mitch Hallett has it just inside 50. We're right behind this kick. He's looking around for options. None are presenting forward of the footy. Now sliding through his Kings, and he was left unmarked. He's just come onto the ground, and he gets the mark.
And this guy's definitely got the leg to get it through from here, a left footer, so this angle will suit him nicely, James. But very sloppy by Deanmill. He's ran on from the interchange bench, ran all the way inside 50 to take that mark uncontested. So I'll be a bit disappointed with that. It's King's going to kick from about 45 metres out.
King's on the approach, arcs wide, the left footer puts it to the near side, never looked likely. The second behind of the day for Boyup Brook, who trailed Deanmill both in general play and on the scoreboard. 33 plays 2.
Just need a few more options down forward. I mean, Wallum is a great player and he's a terrific player, no doubt, but they just need more than him to present to give themselves other opportunities to get a score of a goal.
Nice grab taken on the outer side by DeCampo, who hands it back to the run, and the dumping kick came away. Knocked forward of the ball on the outer wing ahead. Michael shoveled it out, but it was straight to the opposing number in Hall, who puts it inside 50 looking for Strawn, but in the way was Thompson, who takes the intercept mark. Defensive 50 for Boyup Brook, where a lot of this ball has lived during the opening stanza. Can they just get a little bit of ball going their way, the Roos? It's a high up and under footy. Standing underneath it was Michael. Had it knocked away from him. Roved his own footy. Did well. Spun out of trouble. Shipping ball inside 50. Going back and sitting under it was East. He's got options to this broadcast wing, and one of them's Cahill, who will run. He has Reeve further afield, decides not to go to him, and instead goes further afield to Tempara. Plays it to Reeve. Chipping ball. Strawn puts out the 1 mid, sliding, takes the mark. Yes, the umpire says. So far, having a big impact on this game of footy, Strawn puts it to the teeth of goal. 2-on-2, out in front, mark taken.
And gets Fowler. Yeah, Fowler again. He's been terrific in this quarter. And as we've seen from his last effort from 50, James, this distance shouldn't be a problem from about 25 metres out.
Already kicked one today. This one far easier for a coast-to-coast goal on the back of some great football from the Eagles. He's got 2. And Deanmill are white hot at the moment. In the opening quarter, round 1, Lower Southwest Footy League on your Saturday afternoon. Danger signs here for the reigning premiers.
Just had the numbers down back, and Blake East took a terrific diving mark, but he had 2 or 3 of his teammates around him for support, even if he didn't take the mark. Switch to play, comes over to Bodie Reeve, who's also been terrific, and in combination with Blair Fowler, all of a sudden there's another goal on the board for Deanmill. So, yes, understatement to say Boyup Brook need a goal, but I just don't know where it's going to come from. They really need to get that ball delivering in from centre half forward so they can get it into the teeth of the goal square.
Michael and Wallum look dangerous up forward when it's there, but it just hasn't been there enough. As Kings extracted it away, moving forward through. Locked up again, umpire will circle, and he's happy to throw it up at a true centre half forward position here for Boyup Brook. Thrown back up, locked up again. We'll get another throw up just a couple of metres away from where we had the last. Spills loose. Michael throws it on the boot and then relieving it away. Deanmill looked like again through DeCampo as it comes to this broadcast wing. They're going to appeal for insufficient attempt and they get it, Boyup Brook. Houston, the recipient of the free kick. A wobbling ball forward and it goes out of bounds on the full. So any chance to apply any pressure has just been wasted by the Roos.
Bit stiff there, Joshua Reeve, for deliberate out of bounds, but the ball's come straight back. With young Houston, he's just played a solid game of reserves. He's one of Boyup's best, so credit to him for coming back on and being in the starting 16 again for Boyup Brook's league side.
East goes wide to Cahill, so they've completed a complete switch of the ground and they've got run and carry now through Barber, who takes a bounce, runs through the middle of Boyup Brook, puts it up looking for Hall, who out in front takes the mark. Is it going to be paid? Up play on, said the umpire. Thought he controlled it enough. Musitano went back to go forward. Eventually is able to run through and put it to half forward, but again the Deanmill defence are just too good and too strong. Tempara puts it to a 2-on-1 to the disadvantage and Michael takes the mark, played on immediately when he was still on the ground. Umpire's going to call it back. McGinty was off to the races.
I think he did play on, but there's no replays here, so benefit of the doubt goes back to Michael. That was a terrific mark though.
Michael will just prop it up looking for Houston. Had to stand under it against a couple. Locked up again.
Well, the end of this quarter can't come quick enough for Boyup Brook, regardless if they get a goal or not. They just can't afford to let Deanmill get another one before quarter time.
Higher stoppage game to begin, and so far the Eagles have been ahead from go to woe. Little screwing ball around the corner. McGinty couldn't hold on to it. Paid the mark in the end, the umpire. And there's a bit of push and shove off the ball as well. McGinty wants to join. Told to stand. Not a lot of movement ahead of the footy. Strawn wants it to his left. It goes in that direction. Standing tall and taking a nice mark out in front. It's the defence of Boyup Brook who have been under the pump all day long. To centre wing. Hallett throws it on the boot. In the end, it was a nothing kick. He was looking for the option in Chilwell. He couldn't mark it, go wide. Tempara takes the mark for Deanmill. Looks inside of the corridor. It had to be a good kick and it was utter perfection to Hall, who then went to the quicker player in Cahill, goes to the outer side and the strong mark taken by DeCampo. Plays on immediately. He looks for East and a couple of other options out there for Deanmill, but Boyup Brook stand tall. Falls away to Park, has a couple of bounces down the outer side. He's got plenty of time and space. He can almost go for home from here, Park. He's taken 5 or 6 bounces, hands it over the top, looking for support from Wallum. He was then put under pressure, and the umpire circles and will get a ball up. Possibly a wasted opportunity there for Boyup Brook.
We should have put that to the teeth of the goal, sir. I think Park, he's a terrific player, and Wallum, the handball was just a little bit wide, and the mind was willing, but the legs weren't, and the ball up just inside 50.
Hall slaps it behind, looking for the boundary line. 2-on-1 against Deanmill. Ball up again. Left half forward. Inside the final 4 minutes here of the first quarter. It's been an entertaining game of footy so far. You feel Boyup Brook in general players starting to settle a little bit more. Ball near the boundary line. On hands and knees was Kings, who did well to put it inside 50. Wallen will come from behind. Spurls it away in the end. The free kick rewarded to DeCampo. Hands it away to Cahill, who will then stop and prop, has time to survey the options, and goes short to Reeve, and then handed it to DeCampo, and it's open field, an open play now. Tempara throws it on the boot, goes to left half forward, It's not going to be the best of kicks. Strawn is there. Now under pressure immediately is Thompson. Good pick up there from the big fella in Saunders. By Fowler. They end up getting it to the teeth of goal again. Deanmill locked up. Umpire circles. Free kick paid to Brook, so they get away again with one. Staniford Smith goes wide. Just going to chip their way through this one. Kings needed a clean pick-up because the pressure was immediate. They do okay though, the Roos, to get it moving forward. Can they sneak one home before quarter time? Cowan puts it inside 50, another nothing kick. It's a 2-on-1. It may end up okay though for Michael. It's slapped away from him and they're able to relieve it yet again. The Eagles, their run was coming from DeCampo, handed it back over the top. Nickel was there. In turn, they're able to get the run and carry. Reeve will stride to 50. He's got a plethora of options. One of them is his teammate.
This might be Sparks again,
Sparks,
James, I think.
Who's already kicked 2. He'll line up for his third rather. And to really pile the paint on before quarter time against the reigning premier. Sparks tugs it to the right.
Just playing a real unselfish brand of footy, Deanmill, especially coming out of the back line. They've had heaps of options, but using all of them either by hand or foot. So great kick there in from Joshua Reeve into Sparks to give himself a chance from 30 metres out directly in front. But once again, another let-off for the Boyup Brook Roos.
Minute to play in the first quarter. And it's been all Deanmill. A dangerous ball. They're going to get one last crack at it here. Tempara spins around, puts it inside 50. Sparks just had a blemish, flicks it up to McGinty. He was put under pressure. Well done by the Roos defence. They come out wide. The kick a little too hot though for Chilwell. And then goes short and finds Michael. He plays on immediately. On the right boot to right half forward in front of the Boyup Brook bench. Michael put under pressure, got the kick away just in time. It's going to spill to the front of the contest. Chilwell, can they sneak one late, the Roos? No, the Eagles' defence again standing tall. Tempara had time to give their hands away and they can link up yet again. Reeve stops and props and finds East at centre wing broadcast side. Able to quell another opportunity for Boyup Brook. 37 points, the current margin, to the good of the visitors. A long kick inboard to the centre, to Demetrio, who then plays on, goes on to the right, looks for Strawn, falls out the back of him. Thompson has so far held his own against the bigger-bodied Strawn. Cowan flicks it wide as the siren sound. To win the first quarter, it has been all Deanmill. Been able to pile the paint on the reigning premier here in round 1 of the Lower Southwest Footy League. They lead at 6-3-49, 39 rather, to Boyup Brook, 2 behinds. Worrying signs as we head to quarter time. Saturday afternoon football on Filming Footy. We'll take a quick break and be back with the second quarter action right after this. Quarter time here, round one, Lower Southwest Football League between Boyup, Brook and Deanmill, and at quarter time it is a 37-point lead to Deanmill, 6-3, 39 to 2 behind for Boyup, Brook. A disappointing start for the reigning champs, Nigel, but they'll look to respond in this second quarter.
Yeah, and as you called it right towards the end of that quarter, James, in general play, they were starting to sort of get a little bit more of the footy. They were just letting themselves down, especially going into the forward 50. So they need more options than Ash Wallam down there. As much as, you know, a terrific player that he is, and still can be, they just need more options, and some of their deliveries just been a little bit short. So, and the pressure that Deanmill have put on, especially up in their forward line, has just created a lot of mistakes by Boyup Brook's defence, which has resulted in probably 2 or 3 of their 6 goals in the opening quarter. Very impressed with Cahill. Don't know much about him. He's a new player for the Deanmill Footy Club. Terrific up forward, then he went down to centre half back and really cut off a lot of forays. Well, Blake East was terrific down there running off half back. And I thought Bodie Reeve and Blair Fowler were terrific, especially going forward. And Bodie Reeve's a little bit short one in, James, to call it nicely, but he can still play footy. And Blair Fowler is just a pickup we had about 3 or 4 years ago coming into the town and got a mechanical apprenticeship, and he's been terrific up forward, especially his hands. So, Boyup Brook, I thought Cowan tried hard. Kings tried hard. Liam Park worked his way into the game there towards the end of that quarter. And Ben Thompson, when he went back and cut off a few forays for Deanmill going forward. But they just need more. They just need a big focal point. Just one mark and a goal, and all of a sudden they can get their tails up and go from there. But at this stage, Deanmill have all the answers so far right across the whole field.
They're winning it in the centre as well, Deanmill, getting on top through the middle of the ground. Do you look to them, to Boyup Brook midfielders, to just respond early here and get a couple of early clearances?
Well, what we've seen so far is that Hall and Decky are winning the ruck knocks. You're right, the midfielders have to clamp down. They've really got to lock it up or try and pick off a couple of those dominant ruck knocks to Deanmill's advantage and make it to Boyup's advantage. So I think the ruck, we can probably say that Deanmill are going to win 99% of the ruck knocks, but Boyup Brook have got to make sure they either tie the ball up if it goes direct to a Deanmill player, or try and just shark one of them and get the ball going forward. It's up to their midfield to really clamp down in the middle.
37 points to the advantage of the Hawks, the visitors against the reigning champs. Can Boyup Brook respond in this second quarter? Immediately, Tempara got the kick away to the broadcast wing at heads. Able to stop and prop with time was McGinty. Turns to the favoured left boot. Hall with a nice mark on the chest. A true centre half forward. They're going to get the first inside 50 here, Deanmill. Out to the, not a great looking kick, and in the end, easy for Musitano to chop it off. And go short to Kings. Steps around a couple, wants to head to this broadcast wing, and then almost the mark taken by Riley, just dropped it at a critical moment. Wants to turn inside onto the right, finds Kings again. Nice user of the footy, particularly off half back. Will look to get a bit of run happening. Nowhere really for him to go, so he just dumps it to a one-on-one. Falls over the back of the initial contest, slapping it to his advantage was Park, able to gather cleanly. He's got options ahead of the footy. The kick wasn't fantastic. The pressure from Hall affected it. Standing tall yet again was Cahill, goes back to go forward. They're under pressure here, the the Hawks, for the first time today. To the broadcast side they head again, and standing in the way was Tempera. Takes a nice mark. Rolls around. Out on the lead, mark taken. For Fowler, already with a couple. Up forward today for Deanmill. Kick wasn't his. Down, going the way of Deanmill.
It's terrific work there by Parks, who's 1-on-3 and he nearly won the ball and just gave away a silly free kick right at the end to allow Tempera to push the ball forward for Deanmill again.
Tempera, probably not the best option. Able to float in from the side was Wedderburn. He's been fairly beaten early in the ruck contest. See if he can get on top ahead of the ground. Kings will look to run and set them up. Puts them inside forward 50. Is this the first meaningful look for Michael? It is. Uses his body to his advantage. Was aided by a nice kick. And the first meaningful opportunity to score comes for Boyup Brook.
Kings has been good early, hasn't he? He's worked his way across the whole ground, done a lot of work deep in defence, and he's set up nearly every 4-0 forward for Boyup Brook so far. Probably Cale's only mistake so far in the first quarter and a bit in this game.
Kick this from about 40 metres out from goal. Michael for Boyup's first of the season. It holds its line, it's there. Desperately needed that one early, and they get it. King sets it up off half-back. He's been influential early.
Great kick there by Michael, but as we said, Kings has been really prominent early. Riley's starting to work his way into the game as well, presenting some really good options for his players down the field. And Michael there just got his player just underneath the ball and took a terrific mark. A couple of years ago, won a best on ground in the local grand final. He was against Deanmill over at Coaching Up, so he knows how to play. And his DNA would suggest that he knows exactly how to play. So great kick there by Michael. They haven't had too many good looks at goal, but that was one and they made the most of it.
Had to kick that one. He did. Can that spark up the Roos on their home deck? Both ruckmen missed it in the end. Pushing and shoving. Hall went back in, flicked it wide. Locked up is Gianardi. Got a stoppage. Almost dead centre here at Boyup Brook. Spills loose. Kings throws it on the boot again. He's been influential early, getting plenty of the footy in the start of this second quarter. The handball over the back from Barber was solid. They're able to relieve it away here. Deanmill. It's going to stay in play just. Well done by Gleeson. Stepped around Michael. And now it's time to go inside the corridor. Just a little too hot though for DeCampo to get. Ended up getting it on the second effort. Kick ricocheted. McGinty puts it inside 50. Chopped off though by Thompson. He's held his own pretty well against the bigger bodied Strawn. Goes out wide. Cowan. He's going to let it sit for him. Waits for the options forward to present. One of them was Michael. Got past him. Puts the pressure on and the umpire calls for a stoppage.
I've had a fair bit of the footy so far early in this second quarter, Boyup Brook, so they're just starting to settle now. They've got their first goal on the board, but early signs in the second quarter suggest that at quarter time they've just reset and starting to get themselves back into this game.
Spills to the front of the contest, back inside 50 again for Boyup Brook. Found themselves down by 37 points at quarter time. Hit the first of the quarter through Michael. Ball spills loose. Going for the free kick was Kings. Play on, said the umpire. Lots of bodies around this. Umpire then calls for a stoppage. 35 from home for Boyup Brook.
It's amazing what a goal does, James. All of a sudden their tackles are starting to stick. The pressure just ramps up a bit, so they're getting themselves right back into this game.
Hall with the decisive hit out. Trying to get boot to the ball was Lusitano. Spilled loose. Now popping it back inside 50. Nice mark taken out on the lead. And straight onto the chest of Kings. He takes it dead in front, 45 out from home. And this would be massive to get back-to-back goals for Boyup Brook.
I know we've talked about him a fair bit, but Kings has been outstanding in the first 4 or 5 minutes of this second quarter. And this would finish off an absolute terrific period of time in this game. We know he's got the leg here, so 50 metres shouldn't be a problem for this guy.
On the approach, Kings from just inside 50. It looks good. Goal umpire moves a little bit. And it's through for a minor score from the reaction. It looked like it was through for a goal.
A lot of our goal umpires have peripheral vision down here, James. We can do anything from a standing start. So it did look good from here, I can tell you.
Very nice. So now the pressure on Deanmill for the first time today. The run though from Barber was good. He was able to slice his way through the middle and put it to the centre. Chop of the arm called. Free kick for Boyup Brook, and the advantage taken by Michael. Flicks it over the top. Back to Kings. Inside 50. Going to track back. Dangerous looking ball. Spills to the front of the contest. Deanmill again, rebound out. Kings stepped around a couple, throws on the left boot. High up and under kick. Out on the lead, on the chest. Mark taken. It's a nice mark indeed by Cowan, who plays on with 9 on the mark from 50. It's a wobbling ball toward the goal line, and in the end knocked through for a minor score. So they're peppering Brook to begin the second quarter.
The big players are working their way into the game as well. Cowan, Parks, Ben Thompson, Michael. They're right amongst it here, Brook.
Deanmill under a little bit of pressure now. Cahill to set a wing on the outer side. Nice one-on-one contest. Slap to the front. Ball stays in. This is when the Hawks were at their most dangerous in the first quarter, was when they got the chain of hairballs going. The pressure has lifted though from Brook in this second term. They haven't had it all their own way, Deanmill, like they had in the first quarter. It's back inside 50 almost. Cowan slices his way through a couple. Thought about taking a bounce. Instead throws it on the boot. Looks for Wallum. Goes out the back of the contest. He was coming from 3 deep. And in the end, DeCampo, under a little bit of pressure, waited for the cavalry to arrive. Michael, able to gather, shoots towards goal, and he misses to the left. So, opportunities going begging here for Brook.
Get a little bit more time there, Michael, than he thought he did. So, real let-off there for Deanmill. There's been a few down that end for both teams. So, they're right on top of you, Brook. Another couple of goals, and all of a sudden the margin's reduced by half, and they're right back in this game.
Had all the play to begin this second term, Brook just haven't been able to put it on the scoreboard yet. You feel the damn wall's about to break though. Cowan starting to really get into it. Extracted it away. And a nice goal taken. Couldn't quite see who it was that kicked the goal, but it was a nice looking kick in the end.
Might have been Wedderburn, I think, James. I'm sure, but that was a terrific goal from about 40 metres out, and they are absolutely right on top of you. Probably should have had a couple more, but they'd be happy with the start of the second quarter. Terrific finish there by Brook.
Couple of goals in a row for Boyup. Get them back into the game. And it was kicked by Musitano, who finishes the job off. You felt the damn wall was about to break, and when Cowan extracted it away, the seas parted, and Brook are right back in this contest. 39 plays 17. From the restart, can Boyup start to get rolling further from the middle? Cowan knocked it to his own advantage, went and sharked his own footy, kept it in front of him well. It's going to sit nicely for him once he eventually gathers. He does, tied up against the boundary, throws it on the boot toward goal, 1-on-1 on the goal line. Kept in play, well done by both players involved there. Knocked to the front into the pocket, Michael did well, hands it away. DeCampo throws it on the boot, and they're able to just quell that little bit of a surge. Here Deanmill, into the centre for Strawn, had it knocked away from him. Been impressed by how Thompson's held his own so far today. They come out wide towards the Deanmill bench. It sits nicely, stops some props here Saunders, goes inside, Hewden, inside 50, to a sea of maroon and gold jumpers. It may end up okay though. Umpire says play on, it's locked to the front, and the ball locked up. We'll get a stoppage in the forward pocket. Left forward pocket for Brook. From here it looked okay. Park to do the ruck work for Boyup. Spills towards the boundary line. Deanmill somehow keep it in, and fighting his way through was East. Slams it on the boot. Knocked to the front of the contest. Coming through was Gianti. And they're able to now just calm themselves a little bit and take the sting out of the game with DeCampo. Broadcast side, centre wing. Spills loose. In the end, wasn't the best of kicks. Knocked to the front of the contest. Standing tall in the middle of it all was Hanson. Knocked it forward, worked out okay. Keeping it in play was Saunders. Flicked it toward the middle of the ground. Parting the seas was Gleeson. Shrugged a couple of tackles. Goes to the 1-on-1. In the end, taking it on the ground. A nice mark from Fowler. And he'll get a 50, a costly error. Just breaks all momentum that Brook were beginning to build. Fowler will be marched to the top of the goal square to put through his third.
It just takes away all that momentum that Boyup had. Just the free kick just moving across the mark there. A poor kick by DeCampo coming in board, which gave Boyup Brook a chance to repel. But Fowler's been terrific so far. That was a terrific mark, and the courtesy of a 50, he'll shoot from about 20 metres out, basically directly in front.
For his third, and the first in the term for Deanmill. He does it. Fowler's got 3. And they end any momentum that Boyup Brook were building and skip away again on the scoreboard. 45 plays 17 midway through the second term.
Just going back to that mark down forward there, James, I thought Kings was pretty stiff not to be paid that one from where we
They needed as well, the Hawks, to just keep the Roos at bay. Would love to get one back here, Boyup Brook. From the restart. Starting to get into this game is Gianardi. Gets the clearance. Strawn on the lead. Takes the mark. And no matter how good your defence is, you can't stop that sort of delivery. Gianardi, a perfect kick up to his big full forward.
We talked about the middle of the ground for Boyup Brook. They're all standing their side of the centre, and then Hall wins an easy ruck knock, and all of a sudden it's 3-on-1 and the ball comes out. But terrific delivery there by Strawn.
Strawn leans back slightly on the kick, won't get the distance, stays in play, and they're going to be right under the pump, the Boyup defence, and free kick goes the way of Reeves. Nice forward pressure, good forward craft.
Just thought he had a little bit more time there, the Boyup Brook defender, but Bodie Reeve pounced on that, and this shouldn't be any problem for him, about 10 metres out directly in front.
Top of the goal square for back-to-back goals for Deanmill. Makes no mistake. And they are starting to skip away again. Round 1, Saturday afternoon, Lower Southwest Football League. Deanmill could not have asked for a better start to their season.
Well, for the first 5 or 8 minutes of this second quarter, Boyup Brook had all the play. They got a couple of goals. They probably could have got a couple more, but then all of a sudden, in the last couple of minutes, Deanmill got back-to-back goals and just wrested that margin back to what are we up to? About 34 points. So it's probably back to where it was at quarter time. They needed that. It's all about momentum during a game, and it doesn't take much to swing it either way. So little 50 there to give Fowler an opening goal, then Bodie Reeves' tackle allows them to get back-to-back goals and move out to that margin again.
From the restart, Cowan did well, puts it to the top of the goal square, high up and under footy, knocked away from a couple, spills to the front. Saunders had a lot more time than he thought. In the end, won't even register a score. On the last line of defence, Tempera invited the pressure, was able to clear it away okay to the outer side. Spills loose. Michael, the first on the scene for Boyup Brook, invites a little bit of pressure from multiple Deanmill players, and in the end, caught holding the ball, just sat on top of it. Free kick going the way of Fowler, who puts it inside to the corridor. Ball sat nicely for McGinty, who threw it away. Good pressure there from Chilwell to get the free kick going the way of Boyup Brook, and they've got options to this near side. Musitano, who kicked a ripping goal just before, goes inside 50. Not a lot of options. It's a sea of maroon and gold outnumbering them at the contest. Lacking a real big target. As DeCampo relieves it away to Reeve. Hands it back to the run of DeCampo, and he goes further afield to Cahill. Had a lot of time to survey the options. In the end, shows none of them and wanted the boundary line.
Yeah, not his best kick there, Cahill. Blake, he's probably run on the opposite side. He's a natural left footer. He's all one side of the body, but ran to his right side. So, bit of a let off here for Boyup Brook as the ball's thrown in right in front of the broadcast box here, just to see if they can get another goal back to wrest this momentum back from Deanmill.
Shallow throw in, knocked to the front of the contest. How we get A few hands going. Riley into the middle. Nice looking kick for Cowan. Rolls around onto the right immediately. And on the lead, nice kick. And Saunders said, Michael said, thank you very much. I'll take this mark and go back dead in front to get this margin a little bit more respectable. Because at the moment, things are getting a little out of hand for Boyup Brook. They are winning the quarter though. Michael, already with one today, leans back on the kick. Never looked likely through for a minor score.
Look, we just got few doing too much. Cowan, Kings, Michael, they need the whole team to just lift up and just do something to give their teammates a bit of a rest.
Sparks, down in front of our broadcast box here for filming footy. Great to have your company. It's an enthralling contest so far. Tempera. Neutral territory, bang on centre wing. Wanting some movement up forward and a nice, invited the pressure from Hanson, who smothers it over the boundary line and will get a throw in neutral territory. A good result in the end for Boyup Brook.
And that pressure goes underrated because they just manned up. They gave Tempera no options to kick. He had to go long, and well done by Hanson on the mark there to get the ball out of bounds and throw it into exactly the same spot right in front of us, centre wing.
Thrown back into play, slap to the front. Kings, who's been strong on that left boot. Kick was okay in the end, into the path of Michael, who then was happy to see it over and out for inside 50 stoppage.
They're hanging in there, Boyup Brook. They've still got their hands on the footy and still getting enough of the footy to get another couple of goals before half time. But they found another option in Michael, but now he's become the only option up forward. They just need a couple more to step up. Wallam, Kings, all these guys need to get involved up forward to get the score on the board.
Well into time on for the first half. East had all the time in the world so they can get the 1-2 from McGinty. The kick was pressured and it could open the door for Boyup Brook to get another foray forward. Michael was under pressure from a couple, able to flick it wide. And Deanmill go forward again to centre wing. Trying to get the mark was to Campo. He couldn't. On hands and knees, multiple players, both sides well represented. We'll get a throw up, out of side.
Talon Michael's working his way into the game as well. Just a couple of little fumbles have cost him a couple of kicks that could put Boyup Brook right in the teeth for goals. So, but he's starting to get his hands on the footy, which would be pleasing for his brother Matt and also his team in the Roos.
Spills forward, Deanmill. They would contact below the knees, going the way of Wedderburn. This is Nathaniel, goes wide onto the chest of Hewson. Plays on, goes short, looking to the one-on-one. Play on, said the umpire. So high up and under ball. This is now Hewden, who will track it for Boyup Brook. He's got a few to beat. Couple behind him. He heard the footsteps and stopped and propped, and two of them got him. And the umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt.
He just didn't get the bounce that he needed, did he? And then all of a sudden, once that didn't come, Deanmill guys just pounced on him. Wasn't the greatest a kick of chaos coming forward either for Deanmill, but he's been terrific so far today.
Thrown back up. Riley tracked it nicely. Throws on the right to a 2-on-1. He'll spill nicely. Saunders can take the roving. He invited the pressure in the end, got the hands free to throw the handball away. Trying to track it away, keeping it in front of him was Chilwell. And there's been a whistle on play. The umpire's going to bring it back to Chilwell, who gets the free kick. After a blemish, they go wide. East to centre wing. They've been under pressure, Deanmill, for a lot of this quarter, but they still find themselves ahead in the contest. Kings good inside 50. Beautiful looking ball for Saunders to take the mark, play on, and kick a very important goal for Boyup Brook.
Terrific work there on the far side. I don't know who, I couldn't pick it up from here, but it got the ball over to Kings, who's seen Saunders there on his own in the forward pocket. Played on at all costs, and Saunders ran around and kicked a really nice goal from about 20 metres out. Kings has been terrific all quarter. You just see Boyup's method here. They're going to play on at all costs, so Deanmill can't get their numbers back to outnumber Brook, which they have done for most of the game. So, and Kings has got that leg to carry the line. So, Kings, Cowan, Michael, a couple other guys are starting to chip in now for Brook, and all of a sudden they're right in the game. They've had enough scoring shots to be a lot closer, but the margin is still at 27 points. But all of a sudden, Brook looked like the team that they were at the end of last year.
37 points, the margin at quarter time. Back to 27 for Brook, who have kicked more goals this quarter, 3 to Deanmill's 2. Umpires picked out a free kick going the way of Tempera, which is not needed if you're a Brook fan. They get themselves an easy clearance. Strawn on the lead will take the mark out in front. He had a clear runway and a clear leap, and in the end it was easy pickings for Strawn. Tempera, a nice hit up as well. Acknowledged the space that Strawn had in front of him. Well-weighted kick. And this would put it out to 33 points and just hold the Roos at bay. Strawn, can he get his first? He sneaks it home just. Strawn gets his first in Deanmill colours, and the score's back out to 33.
Well, he didn't waste any energy, did he, James? He just got that over the line. I'm sure he's a bit longer kick than that, but 30 metres, he only needed 29. So, great delivery there by Tempera. It was just a little soft free kick in the middle, and no one manned the mark. They were disappointed with the decision from the umpire in Tempera. It was a beautiful kick of the footy, Brock Tempera. Hit Strawn lace out from about 30 metres, and Strawn didn't let him down with the finish. So all of a sudden, Dean will get the instant reply and push that margin back out to 33 points.
Red time goals are costly no matter what team you are, or what level. And it's going to be costly for Brook because Tempera will get another free clearance after he wins himself a free kick. He's got options ahead of the footy. Goes wide. That's mark taken. Left half forward. He goes short. Sparks was all on his own. He had East running past, decides not to use that option. Instead lets him run forward. East hands it over and they'll get another shot at goal, but this time it's well wide.
It's just a couple of backmen involved, isn't it? We're not renowned for kicking goals, but that was kind of the Campo who gets a lot of the footy, just lets himself down with the disposal, but real let off there for the Boyup Roos.
Thompson has done well so far against Strawn. Goes short to Park, who plays on. He wants to get a little bit of spark into it. A little chipping ball. Barely carried the required distance. Umpire said play on. Hallett didn't have a whole lot of time and space, and as a result, they were put under immediate pressure with Hanson. And Wedderburn, who was wrapped up, will get a stoppage. With just 3 minutes remaining. They can't concede another one here, Brook. Decky slaps it to the front. Although Boyup get the clearance, and using his strength, Gianardi, who's been strong, but even stronger was Park, who gets the hold of the ball, free kick, and tempers you feel are just starting to flare a little. Park goes short into the corridor. Strong mark taken by Musitano against a couple. Nowhere really for him to go, so he puts it to a 2-on-1. Work ahead of his teammate there in Wallen, who wasn't paid the mark. And in the end had to do the tackling against Cahill.
Probably could have been paid that mark. I think a bit unlucky there, Wallen, but things are starting to heat up a little bit here, but Boyup are right in this. Cowan's been terrific this quarter too for the Boyup Roos, really leading from the front.
Really lifting. From a Deanmill perspective, Tempera's won a couple of really key clearances. Won himself a couple of free kicks in the middle, and he lines up against Cowan at this stoppage. Cowan took front position, broke the tackle from Tempera, puts it inside 50, but it's well wide, it's over and out. It'll be a free kick for Deanmill.
He's such a strong player that hardly a tackle gets laid on him. If they do, he just busts straight through him. He's a powerful player. Best player in the league adjudged in the last 2 years. He's a terrific player.
inside the final couple of minutes. Can Boyup rattle on a couple heading into halftime and take some momentum? Cowan tried to break a couple of tackles, maybe one too many. Umpire set play on. Spills loose and they pile in on top of it. Left half forward for Boyup. We'll get a stoppage in front of the Deanmill bench, who would be reasonably happy with how things are going so far in this opening encounter.
Well, they've managed to maintain that lead, haven't they? I know Boyup were on top for the major part of the opening 10 minutes of this quarter, but all of a sudden, towards half time, Deanmill's lead is basically the same as it was at quarter time. So they'd have to be happy with their opening hour of footy in this 25 season.
Ball's going to be thrown back in again. In a similar spot inside the final couple of minutes. They get another shallow throw. We'll get another go at it. Interesting to see Wedderburn taking front position in the ruck contests. They tussle again. It falls over the back to the advantage of Decky. They win the clearance, Deanmill, but it'll come straight back from Hanson. Nice mother there from Sparks. Opens the door for Tempera to get it to Strawn. Needed a kind bounce, wasn't quite there. Flicked it wide. Tempera climbs on top of it. Strawn climbs in on top of him and they're just scrapping their way through. Both sides trying to will the ball forward. We'll get a stoppage. Right half forward for Deanmill.
Tackling pressures ramped up a bit in this second quarter, especially towards the end of this second quarter. So terrific effort by both teams. They're really going in hard.
Clearing kick away from Sparks inside 50 was solid. Plenty of Deanmill numbers around the footy. Spills loose. Cahill tried hard. In the end, nice tackle applied there from Demetrio, holding the ball, said the umpire. Took the advantage. In the end, there was none. DeCampo was caught and they get out of jail there, Boyup Brook, through a couple of rash decisions from Deanmill. From the restart, inside 50 from Deanmill. Coming through the contest nicely was Saunders, slams it wide. Can they get this ball over the back of the Roos and try and open up the scoring opportunities? Barber was there to make sure that didn't happen. Flicked it to the centre. Came wide, and now Gianardi sends it wider still for Reeves to try and run onto. Got a kind bounce. Options are plenty inside 50. One of them's Demetrio, who takes the mark at the top of the 50. Space in front of Strawn. He acknowledges it. Probably wasn't the greatest of kicks. Made him work for it. Thompson, well done. Comes away with the footy and quells that little attack. Trying to scrap his way through was Musitano. Flicked it wide. Hallett goes back to where it came. Looking for Kings. Nudged Reeves out of the contest. And then on the left, a nice looking ball forward. And a good mark taken by Michael. They go forward. The siren sounds for half time. A much closer second quarter. And yet 3 goals apiece in that second term for both Deanmill and Boyup Brook at half-time. It's Deanmill who lead, 9-3-57, Boyup Brook 3-6-24 here on Filming Footy, round 1 in the lower southwest. Deanmill take the lead against the reigning premiers, and we'll be back right after this with the second half action from Boyup Brook. margin here between Boyup, Brook and Deanmill in favour of the visitors, Deanmill, James Gardner and Nigel Reeve in the commentary box, 57 plays 24. Nigel, it was a much even second quarter, but the margin stays at around that 5-goal mark.
Yeah, it does, James, and yeah, Boyup, Brook were on top for the first 10 minutes, reduce that margin. Just over 20 points, but all of a sudden, a couple of little sloppy free kicks and a 50-metre penalty bought Deanmill a couple of really easy goals. So for all the good work that Boyup done in the first half of that second quarter, Deanmill rested it back to get that margin out to 33 points at half time. But Boyup Brook would be pretty happy with that quarter. They had enough shots on goal to probably kick another 2 or 3, missed a couple of easy ones. But their big players got into the game. They just need a bit of help. Kings was terrific for all of the second quarter. I thought David Cowan, he was exemplary, just using his bulk around the ground. Liam Park. I think Wedderburn's done a pretty reasonable job in the ruck, like he's competing, and that's all you got to do in the ruck, moving around the ground. Musitano kicked a ripping goal. Probably could have been paid a mark, and Ashwell the same, which would have given him another couple of shots on goal. But Deanmill had all the answers, and then Matt Michael was terrific up front as well and missed an easy goal that normally is bread and butter for him. So, Boyup were terrific in the second quarter and at least got the fair share of the footy and put a score on the board. But as we said, the bottom half of that second quarter, Deanmill kicked 2 or 3 goals, and all of a sudden the margin's around that 5-goal mark. And yeah, Deanmill just have all the answers at the moment and just seem to have the numbers around the contested ball, and when the ball's on the ground, they've just got numbers and using their hands really well and pinpointing targets. Cahill's been terrific down back, Blake East, Bodie Reeve, Blair Fowler down forward. Brock Temperance, probably last 10 minutes of that second second quarter was terrific. A couple of really good clearances, and he's got a good leg on him. So they're just doing what they have to do, and Boyup Brook just need to put their foot down early stages of this third quarter, get a couple of early goals and reduce that margin again and just see where it takes them.
Kicked the first 2 in that second quarter, Boyup Brook, and then Deanmill were able to hit back pretty quickly with Fowler and Reeve. And just since then, we're able to roll on. What does the second half hold for the reigning premiers? They find themselves down by 33 points. Round 1 here in the Lower Southwest Football League. Umpire holds the ball off. Second half underway from Boyup Brook. And the decisive head out again goes the way of Deanmill, and Tempera cruises through the middle and hits Strawn out on the lead. Straight on the chest of the big fella, and he'll go back on a tight angle, a little bit of an angle, for his second.
Terrific work, and once again it's Brock Tempera. He's got a beautiful leg on him. He's not a big bloke, he's not a small bloke either, but he's got really good foot skills, and Strawn's presenting really well and have a shot on goal from about 40.
For his second, and the first in the second half. Margins back out to 39 points. The Hawks are rolling at the moment. The Roos just cannot answer.
They just need to man up in the middle. I mean, Hall and Decky are winning all the ruck knocks. We've talked about this pretty much from the start of the game, but they're just not manning up and pushing forward, expecting their ruckmen to win, and all of a sudden Deanmill have the numbers right in the middle of the ground. Strawn looks a likely type. He leads really well. He's got a beautiful kicking action. Doesn't use a lot of energy, but looks like he's got the distance from about 50 in. So terrific work by him, and well finished off from a great pass from Tempera.
Took them all of 34 seconds. Deanmill, and they're going to get another chance with Tempera. Strawn out on the lead like a freight train. Hands it to Reeves with the run and carry. His handball was a little sloppy. Was able to get his own one back, and good pressure in the end by Chilwell to make sure that that attack went no further.
And once again, Brock Tempera out of the middle looking for Strawn. So they really need to tighten up in there. We're like a broken record here in the commentary box, but it's just becoming much of a habit at the moment.
Thrown back into play. Both ruckmen tussle. Reeves had it stripped of him. Comes away for Thompson, who's been solid so far today down back for Boyup Brook. Into the middle of the ground. Musitano. There's a free kick being picked out, and it goes the way of Reeve, who wastes no time in putting it inside 50. And a nice overhead mark taken by...
I think it's McGinty. Kai McGinty.
Looked like McGinty. Took a nice grab.
Young Kai McGinty played about 6 or 8 games of league footy last year in his debut season, was still a Colts age player, so trusty left foot. His dad was a bit of a legend at Deanmill, played in the reserves today, so let's see what the young bloke can do.
For the second of the quarter, he runs inside 50. It's a high up and under ball. It's not going to get the journey. And sitting in underneath it was Thompson, who takes the mark on the last line and wants to head to the broadcast win. 50-metre penalty has been called again. I reckon it's the stand on the mark. I reckon Strawn just crept over before the umpire called play on. And that is much needed for Boyup to try and get a little bit of flow into this game. Cowan provided the option. Stomps and props, not a lot on offer. So he goes the complete switch to the outer side. In the hands of Mead, who then goes to a true centre wing position. And they're back inside 50 now, Boyup, but all alone, left unmarked, is Cahill, who takes yet another intercept grab. He's been good so far down back. So has Sparks, who's kicked a couple, but then also done his job at half back. Goes to where it came. Cahill, happy to just chip the ball around and play some possession footy for the time being. Has Sparks again on. And he is the recipient again. Dangerous looking ball, but up to the task was DeCampo. Defensive side of centre. And then a clearing kick long for Decky to take the grab. Puts it inside 50. Strawn lost his footing at a crucial time. Thompson able to bounce it away. Down the outer side they head. Musitano looks inboard. Finds the option. And a nice one as well for Hansen to take the uncontested mark.
Made a couple of mistakes early, Hansen, but I think he's been pretty good after that, especially that second quarter under a lot of pressure down back.
Stanford Smith had to track back into taking a pretty comfortable mark. The kick was not up to scratch though, as it goes out of bounds, and we'll get a throw in right half forward for Boyup.
Credit to young Thompson too, James. Ben Thompson, he's been terrific down there. He's a perfect match up there for Strawn. But geez, they like him down forward as a key target because he can take a really good mark and he's got a really long leg on him. But right at the minute with Deanmill's pressure and the ability to win a fair bit of the footy, he's got to stay down back and look after Strawn.
Just discussing whether it's a throw-in or whether it is out of bounds on the full. It is a throw-in. Just allowing Deanmill to have way too much of the football in their back half so far, Boyup. They'll get the clearance here. Sparks tried to weave through a couple and in the end was caught by Kings. We know he's a good kick of the footy and that time no exception as he gets them back inside 50.
Now, if you'd have seen last year's grand final, this distance for David Cowan was not a problem. He kicked probably 5 of the best goals from range you've ever seen in any game of footy, let alone a grand final. So it's a terrific kick of the footy.
Cowan from right on 50. It's going to be tugged to the left. It's not even going to make the distance. Comes off hands, out the back. Mark's been paid. And on the last line, again, the Deanmill defence holds up.
Yeah.
They go wide to a 2-on-1. The numbers are with Boyup, although making a good representation was Hall. Got it to ground. Numbers again still with Boyup, extracted away by Musitano. Goes short to Kings. He handles it over the top. The kick on goal was good, and Boyup get their first of the third rather. A classy finish came from Riley. And a good bit of reward for effort.
Once again, it's those key players of Boyup, Cowan, Kings. Hansen's been good. He won that contest out there. Hall did a good job, but he was outnumbered. Hansen gets a nice handball. Kings, Musitano over to Riley. And Riley runs into an open goal from about 20 metres out. So, good response there by the Boyup Roos. They haven't given up yet, and they're not a team that ever will. But they just need a bit of support. Man up in the middle, get that ball forward. They're doing a lot of work down back. You need to do as much work up forward to put a score on the board. So, good reward for effort there as Riley finishes what was a pretty good passage of play, winning a ground ball there.
Just keep themselves within a little bit of touching distance. If they can rattle a couple on here through the middle stages, it would make things very interesting. Free kick's being picked out. That doesn't help at all as it goes to Gianardi, who was starting to come into his own early in the second quarter. The kick was solid, got over the back. Fowler Got two hands to it, couldn't take the mark. Extracted away. Kick ricocheted from Decky. Brook win the contest and do it pretty well. To centre wing, Riley, who just kicked a really nice goal. He had time and space in the end, a little bit too much time and space. Puts it inside 50, off hands, spills loose. Wallum tried to weave his way through. The handball out. Can they make something of it? Wedderburn tried, handed it back over. Park to the open goal square, taken by Michael. And that's back-to-back goals for the Boyup Brookaroos.
Well, it's good to be unselfish, but they nearly mucked it up with the chain of handballs there, but terrific effort there. Wallum got the handball back out, and for the first time probably today, Boyup Brook had the numbers in Park and Musitano, but handball over to Michael, who's in the right spot at the right time, got to the end of that chain of handballs and put through the goal from the top of the goal square. And all of a sudden, that margin's reduced back under 30 points and 29 points early in the stages of the third quarter.
Challenge being thrown now to Deanmill as to how they respond. Riley has really started to get going out on that outer wing. Michael, we know, he's a big target up forward. That's his second for today. Back in the middle of Boyup Brook Oval. Again, the decisive hit out for Decky. Spills loose. Giatani winning on hands and knees. Wrapped up. Ball up. Attacking side of centre here for Deanmill, kicking for the left of screen in the third term. Sparks on hands and knees, flicked it wide, but again it's locked up and we'll get another ball up.
That's what Boyup have got to do, just lock it up. Nice solid physical pressure in there and just see what they can do out of these contested footy.
Cowan tries to bustle his way through, was caught and is holding the ball. So Gianardi, who's starting to make a little bit of play going forward for Deanmill. That kick wasn't the best, although it could work out okay. Strawn got the handball clear away and then getting it forward was to Campo. Inside 50, nice mark taken overhead by Decky. He'll go back dead in front to end the little bit of momentum that Boyup Brook were building.
Might be Sparks here, I think, James. Might be Cooper Sparks, who's coming out of the middle there and just made himself available there about 40 metres out from goal.
Sparks dead in front to get the margin back over 30 points. He does it. And just as Boyup Brook look like they're starting to get a little bit of momentum going for them, Deanmill just have all the answers. That's his third for today, Sparks. He's been influential for them. And again, Boyup Brook with a challenge at their feet.
Just had the numbers there, Deanmill. Conor DeCampo had 2 or 3 options to come back out. Went back out to his brother, and Josh DeCampo put that in perfect position for Cooper Sparks to take the mark about 40 metres out. So as much as Boyup, they get a goal, Deanmill will respond straight away, and they can't afford to do that. They need to knock 2 or 3 together to get this margin within distance in the last quarter.
Still scrapping hard. Cowan, look at him go. Dances around a couple. The seas parted. One of the handball option. None were forthcoming, so he puts it inside 50. Again, though, they're strong down back, the Deanmill defenders. Barber bounces quickly and goes out wide. Sparks is there, although he's a little one-paced. It got past him. Slapped back forward cleverly by Mead. Did well. Got the handball away. Riley locked up. Wants to get the handball clear. Did so eventually. Thompson throws it on the boot. Nice looking kick. And they're able to get a little bit of ball moving forward with Park at centre wing. Waits for the cavalry to arrive forward, so he goes laterally into the middle of the ground. And now for Wedderburn, who stepped off his line. Umpire called play on. Inside 50, it heads. Couple of big targets. Falls to the front of the contest. Overrunning it, Michael. On hands and knees, Deanmill again. They're able to just withstand the pressure that Boyup are holding at the moment. And it's inside 50. We'll get a forward 50 stoppage for Boyup Brook.
Watch out for Cowan and Park here.
Park to do the ruck work. Got to the front of the contest. Slapped it down looking for Kings. Handed away. Decky. Not the greatest of kicks. Comes off the top of the knee of Strawn. We'll get a throw in.
Game's sort of just teetering here at the moment. There's not a hell of a lot of atmosphere out there. The physical pressure's dropped off a little bit, but Boyup, Brook are hanging in there. Margins at 35 points. They need to get a goal here while it's down their end.
You can feel the fatigue of the first game just starting to take a little bit of its toll. Hallett, a quick snapping ball around. Came off the head of Kings and then fell into the path of Park. He couldn't gather cleanly. Lots of pressure and numbers around the footy. Well represented here, Boyup Brook, to try and extract it away. Instead, they're happy to lock it up and get a throw up inside 50 again for Boyup Brook.
Park probably spent it before he had it then. He had a shot on goal. He's inside 50, but he just forgot the most important thing, which was the footy.
Climbing over the top, Wedderburn did well. He's starting to get into the game as well, Wedderburn in the ruck. As the ball comes away, but it's going to just go straight back inside 50 with Michael, who shoots towards goal. It swings back, it just clips the post. It had all the makings of a perfect Len McGrath in-swinger, but it just clips the post on the way through.
Had the numbers there, Boyup. Probably should have done a little better, but that was a pretty good kick on goal from one step out of the pack, so very unlucky.
Deanmill breathed a sigh of relief. Tempera, one of the better players so far for the Hawks, goes wide. How does this ball sit for Cahill? Wasn't great to begin with, had time to get it onto the favoured left boot to left half forward. Just in the tracks, Strawn, he's got the pace to burn. He goes onto the right, bouncing ball. Does it sit nicely? It does. A kind bounce was important, but instead it's going to come straight back with, on that occasion, it was Fowler who had the quick kick on ball, on goal, misses, and it's a minor score only. So both sides with their opportunities here in the third.
So I think some of the petrol lights are coming on too, James. A few people there out there running up and down on the same spot, and most of my career I know exactly what that's all about. But they just said to push through this one and get ready for next week, but they still got a quarter and a half to go here.
Still 10 minutes to play. Inside forward 50. Strawn will sit under this. Tried to use his body to his advantage. Thompson, though, did well. It still might end up okay, though, for Deanmill. Kale, little scrubby ball to the top of the square. Sparks led the race. Got past him. Free kick picked out. Going the way of Deanmill. And it will be with Fowler. He's already kicked 3 today. Hasn't kicked one, though, since the start of the second quarter. And this would be vitally important heading into the last. And there's been a 50-metre penalty paid. He's going to be marched to the goal line to make a certainty of it. Deanmill starting to kick away. Fowler, the beneficiary of firstly a free kick and then a 50-metre penalty, makes a sure thing of it. And Deanmill, that's back-to-back goals for them here in the third term.
I'm not sure what that 50 metre was for there, James. If it was a standing on the mark, I think we'd have to go upstairs because he didn't look like he moved, to be perfectly honest. But I didn't hear Blair Fowler complaining. He put through his fourth. And as you said, he's been a little bit quiet since the opening 10 minutes of the second quarter. But he's still presenting. He's a beautiful kick at goal. And every opportunity he's had down forward, he's made the most of it with 4 goals so far in this game.
Been influential up forward for Deanmill, holding for Cowan. An important clearance here for Boyup Brook. Just haven't been able to put on 3 or 4 consecutive goals so far, the Roos. Park, can they get the quicker response? Sizes up the goals, looks good, it's there. Boyup Brook respond quickly through Park. And there's just a little bit of hope for the Roos here in round 1 of the lower southwest.
A terrific effort by Park. He's been good all day today, Park. He's just uncanny. He's a 6'3", very slightly framed football player, but he can definitely play the game. He's got a really good tank, so run around onto his trusty left foot and put that one through from about 20 metres to give Boyup Brook the instant reply. So once again, it was David Cowan who's worked his backside off in the middle of the ground and taken a lot of punishment, but he got that ball forward and all of a sudden Park found himself in a little bit of space and made the most of his opportunity about 20 metres out from goal.
Keeps it under 6 goals. 35 points the margin. Riley slid in and was then set upon immediately. Boyup Brook would hold out a little bit of hope. Still 8 minutes left here in this third term. If they can rattle on a couple quickly, they could send a scare through the Deanmill camp. Up to half forward, nice mark out in front. Almost taken. In fact, it was paid eventually to Wallam, who then danced around a couple, had plenty of options, and then picked out the one at left half forward. And looks like Kings again. Trusty left footer who has dominated that outer side so far today for back-to-back goals, and to get this margin under 5 goals to really give the Hawks something to think about as we enter time on in the third term. From just inside 50, King's kick is to the right. It stays in, eventually thrown over the line. And Deanmill get the required result, which was a behind. Pretty stagnant up ahead for Deanmill. Big contest out to the outer side and decides to go there. Nice mark taken out there by Hanson, who plays on, screws the kick inboard. Cowan, who hasn't stopped trying all day, just outside 50. Thought about playing on, thought better of it, then goes inside 50. Out on the lead, knocked away. Thought the mark could have been paid or a chop of the arms. Instead it will come to Riley, who screws the kick inboard. Nice mark taken by Kings, who wastes no time in putting through another. Back-to-back goals for Boyup Brook, and it comes at a very crucial stage of the third term. It's under 5 goals, and it gives the Deanmill coaching staff something to really think about as we enter time on here in the third term.
Well, it just gives the Boyup Brook Roos a glimmer of hope, doesn't it? They've won a couple of one-on-one contests, real ground contests, outnumbered, and all of a sudden they got shots on goal. But terrific work by Ash Wallam. If you don't know Ash Wallam, James, he's just showing glimpses of what he could do about 10 years ago when he was a youngster. So, and for young Riley there, just to weigh up options, he knew he didn't have the leg to get the ball through the middle of the sticks. To see Kings on his own about 20 metres out, and Kings plays on straight away, and he's been terrific, Kings, all day. An absolute servant of this footy club. Been here 2 or 3 years now, but he's a terrific player with a beautiful, beautiful leg on him. So, well done to him to finish off with a goal, 20 metres out directly in front.
Little injury concern here. Mason is the player coming off for Deanmill with what looks like a lower leg complaint, possibly an ankle. So he looks like his afternoon could be finished. Ball back in the middle. Under 5 goals for the first time in a long time for Boyup Brook, who have just eaten their way into this lead with a couple of back-to-back goals. It spills wide. And leading the race for it was Houghton, who then dove on the footy and was taken high. So umpire rewarding the effort. It's going to be going back. No, to Cahill for Deanmill. No real movement as the players start to tire a little bit. Nice mark taken by Wedderburn at centre wing just in front of our commentary position. He's toiled hard for most of the day. The kick wasn't fantastic, although it could end up all right. Kings scraps his way to the footy. Extracted away by Reeve. Got that handball away. And they're making a beeline for it was Strawn. And then the dumping tackle. How does the umpire view this? He asks for it.
Once again, that pressure's ramped up. It's, as you said, James, it's been a little bit stagnant and stale for the first part of this quarter, but towards time on in the third, Boyup Brook have ramped up the pressure with a couple of back-to-back goals. So they get another one here. They're right amongst this to give themselves a chance in the last quarter.
Nice hit out from Bleachmore to get it toward the boundary line. If they win this stoppage here, Boyup Brook, they've got plenty of options ahead of the footy to take the mark. King sitting a kick behind the play on the attacking side for Boyup Brook, although they may not get the opportunity. Although, as I say that, Hall rips it away and gets it forward to the front of the contest, trying to scrap it away. Kings has kicked one before, screwing it around the corner. A classy finish from a classy player. That's his second in as many kicks. And Boyup Brook are coming roaring home as we enter the 5-minute mark of the third quarter.
Terrific goal there by Kings. But once again, this is a sneaky little handball by Wallam. He's a bigger frame than what he was when he was about 17 or 18, but he gets himself in a good position, and the last two handballs have resulted in goals. So Kings is just working his way across the whole field here, and his trusty left foot, he's just snapped that one through from about 20 metres, and as much as that was a great goal, it's a very important goal in the context of this game, as it puts the Boyup Brook Roos within 22 points and within touching distance with a quarter and a bit to go, James.
22 points. They have not even looked like leading all day, the Boyup Brook Roos, and yet here we are, only 4 goals down. Although playing catch-up footy can tire. Tempera dives on it, wrapped up in a pretty strong tackle. We'll get a throw up. Boyup Brook, fair to say, have all the momentum, and they've built it over a sustained period of time. Riley tracks it, was then dove on, and then Tempera ripped it away, strides inside 50 to end any sort of momentum. Another classy finish. Tempera's been strong all day, and he gets reward for effort. Puts it back out to 28 points, just as the Roos were starting to mount a case, heading to three-quarter time.
And they'd be disappointed with that, Boyup Brook. They had all the momentum there. They were right on top, and all of a sudden, Tempera, as you said, James, has been terrific, basically throughout the whole game, especially with his centre clearances. Gets his way past 50 and puts through a terrific goal. Just the rest one back for Deanmill, push that margin back out to 28 points.
The thing that I'm loving about him today is he's doing it on the inside and the outside. Had an impact on both. Classy player. One to watch throughout the season, that's for sure. Could lead his side to victory here. He'll be in amongst it again against Cowan. Locked up. Enthralling contest, that one between Cowan and Tempera. Up to the front. Demetriou flicked it back. Doing well was Gleeson, although lost his footing, but was able to get rid of the footy at the same time. Sparks on the outer side, centre wing, screws the inboard, looking for Reeves in a clear mismatch against Hansen, who did well to use every inch of the advantage to take the mark over the top.
Yeah, it was asking a fair bit of Bodie Reeve there to outmark Hansen with the way that kick come in, but ball back in the middle now is Riley. He's been pretty good in the last couple of quarters.
Hewden ripped it away and then handed it to King, so he goes inside 50 off the half volley, almost taking it cleanly. It was Cowan who then screws it around the corner, high up and under footy. Good luck marking that. Knocked to the front. Park was there, tried to slap it toward the boundary line. Kings got it away. Parks, boundary line in and amongst, is playing a factor here. Boundary umpire happy to let them play though, and Deanmill again get the defence stand tall. Although it could be worrying signs with Wallam there. Handed it away. Play on, said the umpire. Touched the ball to the top of the goal square. Both players had a hold of each other. Free kick going to Deanmill. Pretty touchy one when I thought both had a hold of each other equally.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So Deanmill will be pretty happy with that. They're under pressure there for a fair bit of that time as the ball comes out to Sparks and he marks just outside the defensive 50.
Sparks, right half back. 28 points the buffer, led by 33 at half-time and 37 at quarter-time. Deanmill over the head of Tempera, made him work for it, and he had Hansen coming for him from the other way. Bounded straight back up though, got his own footy back, puts it inside 50. Nice mark out on the lead from Decky, who then rolls around straight away. Could have taken his 30 and then played on. Instead, spotted the better option, and he decides to go to that. And it looks like Demetriou, who's been pretty good on the outer side. This would really hurt Boyup, who kicked 3 straight goals through Park and Kings. He's on virtually dead in front. 20 metres out from goal. Umpire does not move. Never in doubt from Demetriou. And yet again, Deanmill just have all the answers to Boyup Brook's attack.
Great work there by Brock Temper. He's been playing a terrific game of footy. He took a really heavy knock, but got straight back up, got the ball inside. Ball comes over to Demetriou. He's been a terrific kick throughout his whole junior career, and from 30 metres out, it's bread and butter for the youngster. Another guy that's about 19 years of age is making his way in league footy, so well done to him for getting a goal on the board. And he's been terrific on that outer wing all day. Really good contest out there.
34 points the margin after it was back to just 22 not that long ago when Kings had a classy finish on the left. Ball bobbles around in the centre. Nice hands though from Deanmill. When they get this handball game going, they are dangerous. De Campo took it gladly. Wanted Strawn, who had two hands to it. He's going to pull up a little ginger over the top. De Campo has all the time in the world to survey his options and pick out Gianardi. Dead in front, 20 metres out from goal. Gianardi, a chance to really pile the pain on just before three-quarter time.
These red time goals, they really hurt you, don't they? I mean, boy, all the hard work they've done and the good work they've done, they're just going to let it slip with a couple of minutes to go before three-quarter time and allow Deanmill to kick a couple of really easy goals.
Gianardi for a 40-point margin with 2 minutes to go in the third term. Goal umpire has to shovel, but it's there. Out by 40. And it is worrying for the reigning premiers heading into three-quarter time.
Really unselfish work there. Connor De Campo could have had a bounce and run into goal, but we've seen his effort in the third quarter, so he thought, maybe not, I'll pass this one off and see if someone else can do it. But Gianardi, new fella to the Deanmill Football Club, looks a good size. I think him and David Cowan be talking about how much they bench press, but he can play the game, and from about 20 metres out made no mistake. So really unselfish play there by the Deanmill Football Club, and Connor De Campo results in a Gianardi goal.
3 straight goals for Deanmill after 3 straight from Brook, and they'll get another clearance. Here the Hawks. Gianardi put his head over the foot. He was collected rather Strawn. Gets collected high. Takes the free kick. Attacking side of the centre circle. Puts it inside 50. Spills for East. Couldn't get a clear handball. Taken high. Yeah, free kick. And a 50-metre penalty for Kings, who has been a shining light for Boyup Brook. We'll march this into the middle of the ground. And they would desperately love a goal here to get it back to 34 points. Need some options to present for him. Kings looks for Cowan in the pocket. Going back with the flight. Takes a nice mark. Not the easiest of marks to take, and this won't be one of the easiest of kicks. We know he's got the leg. This is a huge goal in kick in context of the game, with just a minute to go until three-quarter time. Cowan, he's been good all day, leans back, it looks good, it's there. We're back to 34 points, and he breaks a run of 3 Deanmill goals. A nice finish for Cowan.
A terrific finish by Cowan. As you said, it was a terrific mark running backwards. No one coming his way, but you still had to take a really good mark. And from 45, he's put through a terrific goal with ease. But Kings has been outstanding all day for Boyup Brook. I'm not sure what the 50 was about. Maybe he just lingered on too much in the tackle with the free kick paid in the defensive 50. But with Kings' leg, Cowan, a terrific lead, great mark, great finish. It's just what Boyup needed going just about into three-quarter time to try and get that margin back to something they can chase down in the last 30 minutes of the game.
Certainly, with a minute left until three-quarter time, a goal for either side would be massive. 34 points is the margin after 33 at the main break in favour of Deanmill, who have led from go to woe. They had the opening score in the first minute through Sparks, and since then, Boyup Brook have been playing catch-up footy from the restart. Cowan will scrap his way to the contest. It spills loose. Kings will track it. He's got a couple there for company, and winning it away nicely was Gleeson. Wanted to put it on to boot to ball, couldn't though. Kings takes it, throws it on to the left, wanting Riley. Had it spoilt away from him and toward the boundary line. We'll get a boundary throw in inside the final minute. Left half forward for Boyup Brook.
Terrific score there by Josh DeCampo. He's just gone down with a bit of cramp, but really saved a goal there for the Deanmill Hawks.
Sparks flicked it wide. McGinty was good. Now we get a little bit of play going forward. Strawn had it knocked away from him. Spills loose. DeCampo puts it inside 50. A lot of space inside forward 50 for Deanmill here. Decky screws it around onto the left to the top of the square. And in front, taking another nice mark, is Strawn. Who looks like he could be a very handy acquisition for the Hawks in season 2025.
Once again, Deanmill had the numbers on the goal side of the contest.
The three-quarter time siren, a chance for a 40-point lead, he misses. So they'll have to settle Deanmill for, well, a pretty comfortable 35-point buffer at three-quarter time. They've been leading all day, Boyup Brook, through the challenge in that third term. They got it back to as short as 22 points, but since then, it was all the way of the Hawks. Three-quarter time, it's Deanmill leading round one contest by 35 points. Three-quarter time for your Saturday afternoon here on Filming Footy. The lower Southwest Football League between Brook and Deanmill. And Deanmill have led from go to woe, and they hold a handy 35-point buffer at the final change. James Gardner joined by Nigel Reeve. Nigel, Deanmill just have all the answers at the moment.
Yeah, they sure do, James. But yeah, Brook got that margin down to 22 points with about 5 minutes to play in that third quarter. I'm thinking, oh, maybe another goal, and things will really tighten up in the last quarter. But Deanmill were able to respond and get a couple of late goals, which pushed that margin out to, as you said, 35 points. So far for three quarters, they've had all the answers. But as we know with Brook, they won't stop trying. Kings has been terrific. Cowan's been terrific. They're all having a go. They just need to get it on the scoreboard. Wallam showed glimpses of what he was like as a junior, but Deanmill with Cale down back, Blake East, Campo, Brock Temper has been fantastic through the middle of the ground and finished off with a goal late in that third quarter. So 30 minutes to go. Brook will have to get the first couple of goals to give themselves any chance to win this game.
Vitally important centre bounce here for the final term on Filming Footy, round one. And it's Deanmill with the first inside 50 of the last. It scoots to the back. Tracking it back was Gianardi. Also there was Strawn, who's been good, and a sloppy turnover. Falls in the lap of Hall, who said, thank you very much. I'm going to go back dead in front, 30 metres out, and look to put this margin out to 41 points at the beginning of the last.
I think Hall was just sitting there just thinking, I'll just put my big frame in this position just in case, and Hanson just turned the ball over directly in front, 25 metres out.
Hall on the left, never in doubt. 41 points it goes out to, and this makes things awfully hard for Boyup to trim the lead back.
Well, terrific there, terrific work by Kestadecki out of the middle. He rucked the ball, won his own ruck knockdown. Got some form of kick in there, put the Brook defenders under pressure, and Hanson turned the ball over. He's been terrific since the early parts of the first quarter, but turned that ball over to Hall directly in front of goal, and Hall made no mistake to increase that margin early on in the last.
Brook desperately need a hit back, and they just haven't had the ability to rattle on a lot of goals. They've had runs of 2s and 3s, but every time so far, Deanmill have had the answers. As Michael goes forward to a big pack of players, it was a 2-on-2. It spills to the front. Deanmill with the numbers. They come wide to the broadcast side. In front, trying to trap it, was Tempera. And then Kay scoots to the back, thrown on the boot. Three-quarter time margin of 35 points.
Well, Wallam picked that ball up head first into a tackle, and all of a sudden he's got a sneaky little handball out, and who should be there but Mitch Kings, who's been terrific all day, gets his third for the game and managed to get Boot the ball and put through a goal from about 2 metres out. So that's the response that Brook needed, but they need to follow that up with 2 or 3 more just to get that margin back to within a distance that really makes Deanmill's defence tighten up to see how they go. But terrific answer there by the Brook Roos.
Classy finish from Kings. 3 goals for him. He's been one of the better players across both sides, but particularly for Brook. Ball back in the middle. Can they win repeat clearance? They can't, as Deanmill go forward again. Tempera cruising on past. We know he's a classy finisher. He looks good off the boot. Does it get the journey? It doesn't. Strawn on the goal line. Spoils it through for a minor score.
Boyup are still trying here. They've chucked, Matty Michaels has chucked himself into the middle of the ground and put Cowan forward just to give him that potency around the forward 50. And we know Cowan can kick him from a long way out.
Michael plays on, goes into the corridor with Park. He's also kicked one today. They go laterally to Saunders, so almost a complete switch of the ground here for Boyup. Inside 50, they head also left half forward. Nice mark for Cowan. Rolls onto the left, puts it to the top of the goal square. Wallam's there, over the top though. Strong defensive mark is taken by Mason. Takes the mark and wants to go immediately. Finds Reeve right in front of his own goal. Goes shorter still. Nice mark for Decky, who then goes to right half back. happy to just play a little bit of possession footy, and now this is when they switch into action. Sparks in the middle of Boyup Brook. He has Decky providing an option, decides to use it. Barely the 15, umpire pays it. And there's been a free kick off the ball, and it's going to be a downfield 50-metre penalty. Decky will be marched inside 50. I didn't see what the free kick was for. Nonetheless, he's going to be dead in front, 40 metres out from goal.
Yeah, I didn't pick that one up either, James. I was watching here. I know Riley ran past the man on the mark, but I think you're allowed to do that.
On the bench.
Decky
leans back, doesn't get the journey. Plenty of numbers on the goal line for both sides. Almost going off the deck was Gianardi, but instead McGinty finishes off the job with a classy crumb. And this is starting to turn a little ugly for the reigning premiers.
Well, just another 50-metre penalty. We didn't see what it was for, but the 50-metre penalty has probably cost Boyup Brook about 3 goals today. And in the context of the game, they'll be right in it if you take those off. But Decky's starting to move like that player he was 2 or 3 years ago. He got the kick out from fullback, courtesy of Reeve, and then all of a sudden he's presented himself on the wing. 50-metre penalty puts it to the teeth of goal. And young Kai McGinty, as we talked about earlier, in his first full season of league footy, genuine left footer, snaps over with his left foot and puts it through from about 10 metres out to once again have the answers and push this lead out to 42 points.
One of the highest leads of the game so far, locked up. 37 points, the margin at quarter time, 33 half time, and then 35 at the final change. And now out to a nice 42-point margin inside 50 for Boyup Brook. Can they just make this scoreboard a little bit more respectable? They can't. Deanmill have been strong down back all day. Anytime Boyup have gone forward, they've had the answers. And East, who's had his moments, rolls onto the left boot, goes to right half forward, looking for Dimitro, who has to sit under it against a couple, who puts the pressure on nicely. Play on, says the umpire. Boundary line starting to become a factor. And eventually it rolls over and out for a throw in.
Good follow-up there by young Dimitro. Probably should have taken that mark. It was nearly uncontested in the end, but he butted up, second effort, and put a great tackle on to get a throw in about 50 metres out.
Ball thrown back into play. Right half forward, slapped over the back from Hall. There's been a whistle on play for a hold. Going the way of Deanmill. And it's in the hands of McGinty. Kicked the last goal of the game. Puts it inside 50 with a little spot kick in the end. Able to read it and get back was Musitano. And then goes short on the lateral 45, and it allowed Reeve to come through. He read it like a book. And he spoils it over and out, and they get around him. And rightly so.
A great spoil there over his much taller opponent, James. Which is everyone on the field, to be honest. That was a great spoil by him.
Athletic tight, able to get it over and out to the front of the contest. Nice handball from Kings. Just dumped forward by Hanson into the middle of the ground. Michael got the handball clear just in time to Hewden, who's already played Resi's day. Got it to a true centre-half forward position. The only man there, though, was Cahill, but then flicked it wide. And they're able to get it right across to the outer side with East, who then wheels and goes nicely. A nice-looking kick as well to left half forward. There's still some 70-odd metres from goal, though. Deanmill. It'll take another couple of kicks. Up to the teeth of goal, backing back into the pack was Gianardi. But able to take the intercept mark was Michael. He plays on to the outer side, looks for Cowan, who took the mark out in front, spots the kick inside to the corridor. Riley couldn't get onto it though. And again, they just bounce the Hawks. This has been a key part of their game so far. Sparks has been influential so far at a true centre-half full position. Goes into the pocket. And
free kick.
There's going to be a blocking free kick going the way of Strawn. I thought it was decent bodywork from Chewell, but umpire didn't see it that way.
Yeah, unlucky there, and Strawn will be pretty happy with that. But I think Thompson and so it's been a pretty good duel all day. Probably even there. Strawn probably could have kicked a couple more, but he's got a pretty reasonable shot here from about 45 metres out. We're right behind this one, James, 45-degree angle.
Right behind it, as you mentioned. Kicks on its way. It just sneaks home. And so Strawn is starting to fill his boots a little bit. He's kicked a couple. And they're really starting to make this a little bit ugly for Boyup Brook.
As you said, James, pretty good body work there by Boyup Brook. Unlucky there. Ben Thompson took the mark, but the umpire seen a free kick for blocking the Deanmill player out, which was Strawn. And Strawn from 45 metres puts through an easy goal. So once again, they have all the answers. They push this margin out to 50 points. I don't think Boyup Brook can come back from here. They won't give up trying, but I think the margin's just a bit too long, even though we're only in the early parts of the last quarter.
Deanmill with the last two. We've got 3 of 4 in this last turn. East was a little too slow to get rid of it, but umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt, said play on to Truce and a half forward, socket off the deck by Sparks. They hand it back to go forward, and the kick from Hall was solid, and it's there for another goal. He's kicked 2 in the corner. And Deanmill could not have asked for a better start to 2025 after bundling out in the first round of the finals last year by 4 points. They look like a very hungry side.
Yeah, terrific finish there by Hall. Young McGinty's been prominent early in the last quarter. This silky left footer, and Hall, who's pretty good foot skills for a pretty big man. I mean, 6'7" as we talked about earlier, but spent a little bit of time at Peel, so he knows how to play the game. Spent most of his juniors as a basketball, and a very, very good one. But that was a terrific finish for him from about 35 metres out.
Deanmill starting to fill the boots and get a little bit of percentage heading their way. In other games today, Cogen up, we're taking on the Tigers, and Southerners against Bridgetown. That's in round 1 of the Lower Southwest Footy League. Ball thrown back up after the stoppage. Sharking it was Cowan, did well to get rid of it in time. Wanted the free kick, none were forthcoming. And so East pounced on it. He had pressure coming from behind from Riley, which affected the kick, and in the end allowed for the defence to get back with Hanson and take a little bit of time. Goes wide. Riley dances around a couple. Fancy footwork. Goes into the middle. A beautiful looking kick, but he had 2 hands to it where to burn. Couldn't hold on to the mark though. As it spills to the front of the contest. Soccer off the deck. Wasn't quite as effective as imagined. Michael pounces on it. Goes into the right forward pocket. And out on the lead, Wallam takes the mark. Up against the boundary line. 35 metres out from goal. Wasting no time here, Wallam. Going back. And getting it there. So a little consolation prize late. And just trims the margin back a little. A nice finish from Wallam on the back of a nice bit of play from Boyup Brook.
And it's just great to see Ash Wallam playing footy again. He was a terrific player as a junior, so he's just showed glimpses today of what he can do. A little bit more fitness, and a few games into the season, he's going to be a hard man to beat and a good man to watch. So well done to Boyup Brook. They'll never give up. We know that after watching him for many, many years. So Cowan was terrific in the middle. Kings, once again, he's been terrific all day. So they just got to keep trying here, push this game out to the end, get something out of it. I don't think they're going to get the win. The margin's too big, but just keep on trying and give them some confidence going into next week.
Back in the middle, Riley almost dove on the footy. Umpire said play on. And then eventually they stack on it and we'll get a restart. Both sides have shown glimpses of brilliance. Deanmill have just had more moments from the congestion. Slap forward. Kings around on the left to half forward. Bouncing ball. Goes out the back. Reeves had to wait for it and then get it clear. And DeCampo was left all alone at left half back. He's a dangerous player to leave alone. As Reeves pushing forward for him, decides not to use it. Wants to go inside. Decides against it and instead pumps a long one down the line to the disadvantage of Decky, but it made no difference. He reeled in a nice mark, then gave it to Demetrio, who hits up Strawn on a nice lead. Looking inside forward 50, plenty of space, waits for the numbers to get back. Almost played on, wants the players to lead at him. A well-weighted kick, could not have asked for a better one to McGinty. Centimetre perfect. To get it to McGinty, we are right behind this again. Right side for the left footer. He'll be kicking it from almost the 50-metre arc. It's going to try and get a little bit of extra distance. It's swinging back. It doesn't get the legs though. And it's over the line from one behind only.
He might have just written a check he couldn't cash there, young McGinty. Probably should have put it to the top of the square, but when you're this far in front, why not have a goal? He's a young bloke. He's just making his way in league foot. He's been terrific in the last quarter.
Riley plays on, slices through the middle. Nice kick for Michael. Can they get some momentum heading into next week here with Kings? Rolls onto that trusty left boot. Perfect kick. Just slips through the hands of Wallum. Spills out the back. Putting his head over it. Fighting hard again and locked up. We'll have another stoppage. Inside forward 50 this time for Boyup Brook. Porter does the ruck work. Well done though again by Tempera. Reeves was trying to lay the shepherd and he's going to come out worse for wear there. Reeves behind play. He's very sore. Still on haunches. Hopefully he's okay. He's up to his feet now as the ball rolls over the boundary line. Halfway through this last turn.
Boyup just need to find a way here to get a couple of goals, just to bring that margin back to what it was at the first quarter, just to say that they've matched Deanmill for 3 quarters. So let's see what they can do.
Probably doesn't deserve to be a margin any bigger than this. Apart from the first quarter where Deanmill had all the play. Since then it's been pretty even in the contest, I thought. It was just an inability from Boyup to put the score on the board at times.
And as we know, they've got a couple of key players out, so yes, if they can maintain that margin from quarter time and get those players back, then all of a sudden they'll be a team to watch as the season goes on.
Michael glides through and it was a nice looking kick, but as they have been all day, the Hawks' defence were up to the challenge. A few players starting to go down with a few cramps and little niggles, as is the nature of round one. No matter how much pre-season you do, it cannot prepare you for the intensity of a game. From the throw-in, taken high was Cowan. Made sure the umpire saw it. And he'll go back and get a free kick and a shot on goal. He's kicked 1 so far today, Cowan, and that was the final one in the third quarter. Which at the time got them within a little bit of distance. Cowan for his second gets it. He's been strong all day and just reward for him.
Well, he's been terrific. He just always puts himself in a position to either win the free kick or actually win the ball clean. So as the best player judged in the competition for the last 2 years, he's been terrific once again today. And the umpires will be looking at him for votes come the end of the game. Him and Kings have been outstanding for the Boyup Brook Roos. They've really shone from the front with minimal support, but they haven't given up. They've just tried their heart out all day. So Davey Cowan's been pushed forward early in the last quarter to try and give them some potency up forward, but now he's moved back into the middle. But that's a great finish by him and a couple of goals for the game so far.
2 shining lights. It's been an interesting battle between him and Tempera. Both of them, you would say, have probably split the points. Like Cowan has time, dances around a couple, maybe saw a little bit too much candy. Umpire said no, play on. Ball spills out the back door. Putting his head over the footy, well there was Hall, and then they send it forward. Mead was able to bounce off centre half back and send it to the outer side. Tracking it first was Musitano. And the boundary line is starting to become a little bit of a factor as players begin to tire. East danced around a couple. The kick wasn't great, although got past the initial defence of Mead. The handball back was strong. McGinty into the pocket, almost taking the mark. Almost a chop of the arms as well. And the Boyup Brook defence are able to rebound strongly and come to the broadcast side on the lead. Nice mark taken there by Park, who's also been pretty good. Both down, back and up forward. Porter has a lot of time and space, and in the end, the bounce wasn't kind enough for him, and he's seen over and out.
Too much time and not enough space in the end, James, but they're not giving up, Boyup Brook. I'm pretty impressed with the whole game in general, but they're not giving up. The margin's too much now, going late in the last quarter, but they'll keep trying, as we know.
Tempera, been strong all day. Again, a beautiful kick. I don't reckon he's miskicked any today. To Decky. He's been strong as a big fella. Puts it into the path. Looking for Demetriou. He needs a kind bounce. He gets it. Against the boundary line. This would be some effort. It clangs into the woodwork to the near side. Almost bent the banana the right way, but just didn't get quite enough onto it. And so it's a minor score only.
Decky's come into the game in the last quarter and a half, especially after half time, so it's good to see him back to some sort of form. We all know how he can play, so between him and Hall, Dean will seem to have a ruck combination that's going to be hard to match as the year goes by.
Kings in the back pocket. Covered a lot of ground so far today, got a lot of touches to Park. Plays on. Goes for a run along the boundary line. Now a couple of bounces. Almost thought about a third, instead flicked it over the top. Thought about the 1-2, instead they go inside. Wedderburn, a sizzling little low drop punt into the pocket. Trying to trap it was Wallam. Did so. Handball over the top. Cowan to finish it off. Will stroll into the open goal. And that's 3 on the bounce now for Boyup Brook. And that's Cowan's third.
Terrific effort there by Park, but the kick coming in from Kings, he just weighted up. Beautiful kick, hit Park within distance of a couple of Deanmill defenders, and Park, we thought the game was getting a bit stale and stagnant, but he had 2 or 3 bounces right in front of the broadcast position here. Handball over, Wedderbone, and Wallam's been good. His handball's been really good, effective, and 3 or 4 goals have come out from some sneaky little handballs from Wallam. And Cowan, who also has been terrific for Boyup Brook, finishes off with a great goal. End-to-end stuff from the Roos.
They've shown glimpses that you could be really excited about the season ahead if you're a Roos supporter. Obviously a long season still ahead. We're only in round 1. Both these two teams look like they'll be at the pointy end yet again. Back in the middle. And they win the clearance. Kings wobbles one into the pocket. Michael, nice clean pickup. Handed it to Porter, just a little wide for him, but then followed up with a nice tackle against DeCampo, and happy to get the inside 50 stoppage.
And once again, Kings out of the middle. How much more can we say about his game today? It's been sensational.
Him, Riley and Cowan have led the way, really, for the Roos.
And I agree with the earlier comment too, James. I think Kings would nearly be, he'd be in the top 3 on the ground, I reckon, even though Boyup Brook are getting beaten by 6 goals. He'd be right up amongst them.
There's been plenty of players from both sides that have impressed, but I think Kings deserves at least 1 vote across the ground. Another inside 50 stoppage. Strawn, one of the 1-2. Fell to Porter, he couldn't take clean possession, spend it before he had it. And they pile on. Umpire circles, another ball up.
Another goal here for Boyup. They're in a good position. All of a sudden that margin's back to 30 points, pretty much where it was at quarter time.
Spills to the back, trying to get it forward. Reeves, possibly held without it. Play on, said the umpire. Through hands, Tempera. Dances around a couple, shrugged the tackle from Musitano, and then puts it into the path of Demetriou, who had time to then look and give a wide sweeping handball away. Inside 50 yet again. 1-on-1 for Sparks. Well done though by the defence of Boyup Brook, who are able to now possibly bounce. Riley with the 1-2 linking up well with Mead. And then a nice little kick forward to Cowan. And then looks inside and has Kings running for him. Plays on immediately around Reeves, who just took a little bit of time to get to the mark. Great kick and a great mark on the left. Oh, Hammy possibly gone No, he's okay. Cowan, who takes the mark. He'll go back right on the paint of 50. We know he's got the legs, but with the tired legs in the last quarter, does he get the journey? He does! A great way to finish the game. Cowan with his 4th for today and his 4th in a row and possibly the highlight of the match.
Terrific kick there by Cowan for a bloke that done a hammy about 20 seconds before.
Little cramp possibly. He pulled up a little ginger. I thought that he might have gone.
Well, that's travelled all of 55, 60 metres. He kicked that from well outside 50, well over the umpire's hat. Terrific kick by Cowan. Well set up there by Kings. The kick coming in. Riley, Kings, Cowan. We've called them nearly every play that Boyup Brook have gone forward from deep in defence to having a shot on goal. Well, that's a terrific finish by Cowan. And as you said, that's probably the goal of the day. The highlight of the day comes late in the last quarter.
Deep into the last, and it gets it to 30 points, which is a pretty respectable score considering it could have been really ugly at the start of this quarter when Deanmill had 4 of the first 5 rather. They might get the chance to just make it even better. Kings, inside 50, possibly a hold of the jumper. Play on, said the umpire. Good one-on-one contest. Falls to the front, sharking it away. And getting it free was Wallam, and then the snap from Cowan was delightful. He's starting to have a day out. 5 for him, and he's giving the umpires something to think about for the best on-ground votes.
Well, he's a known vote getter as well. One year he won the votes with about 54 out of a possible 70, so he knows how to get the votes, but he knows how to play the game. And once again, it was Kings. Terrific handball in the middle, takes a bounce, puts it out to advantage of Cowan. Possibly could have got a free kick, but Cowan's 2nd and 3rd effort results in him snapping one from 20 for his 5th goal of the game. And all of a sudden, that margin's back to 24 points. Late in the last quarter, so Boyup Brook are not giving up here, and this is a testament to their style of play. What Matt Michael brings to the Boyup Brook Footy Club is they're never out of the game.
They've kicked the last 5, Boyup Brook, 4 of them from Cowan, and with 24 points the margin, we're inside 5 minutes. It'd be almost a miracle, but they're not out of it, surprisingly. Despite being well down at the start of this quarter and looking down and out, they have somehow resurrected their chances. Kings at the bottom of the pack, as he has been for a lot of today.
And even if they do go down in this game, and who gets more out of this game, Boyup Brook or Deanmill? I mean, Deanmill might get the 4 points, but I think Boyup, for the way they've played and fought this out, would take a lot of heart out of this.
Aside from the first quarter, it's been a really even contest. So that slow start may cost them, or it may just aid them. Musitano looked for Parker, a Porter rather. He couldn't get hold of it, and bouncing away out of the contest was Gleeson. Sends it wide and long to centre wing, and a nice grab taken out there. Able to send it inside to the corridor with the Campo, who will then just chill a little bit of time up. Wants to keep going down the spine. Nice wide sweeping handball over the top from Hall. Spots the kick up and out on the lead. Strawn yet again takes the mark. Called his name a fair few times today in this similar position. Dead in front, 35 out, to now put the game beyond doubt.
Just a little bit sloppy in the middle of the ground there. The Boyup Roos gave Deanmill an opportunity. Comes through to Campo. Nice kick in, and Strawn. Well, he's a beautiful kick of the footy, what we've seen so far today.
Dead in front, it's fading to the left and it hits the post.
Well, so I've heard, James. So I've heard. A bit lazy on that kick, Strawn, but he's getting a lot of opportunities in front of goal.
Just leaves the door slightly ajar for Boyup Brook as Riley takes the mark, plays on immediately, goes down the line, Porter over his head, Michael tracks it, bouncing away nicely with dash and with space to burn. Coming away was Gleeson, puts them back inside 50, Strawn's there, as are a couple of others, ripped it down, well done by the Boyup defence, but Reeves, the only man within 20 metres, takes the mark and then hands it straight away to Tempera. Boundary line, flirting with it. It's out of bounds on the full.
Good call.
Great call. Boundary umpire in the right position. Had to respect that. Over the top. Park. Not with any real urgency. Inside 3 minutes. No real movement. A lot of tired legs and tired bodies out there. To a 2-on-1. It scoots out the back. This is dangerous times now for Deanmill. Although with Gleeson there, you know that you're probably in safe hands. The ball's ripped away. Boundary line becoming a factor, and it's seen out. Josh DeCampo happy to put it over the line.
I think Deanmill have done enough to win this game. I mean, that's stating the obvious, but Brook have done enough to show that once they get their strongest team and their full team back, that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with as the season progresses.
From both sides, you'd be pretty pleased with what you've seen, particularly Deanmill in the first 3.5 quarters, Brook in the last probably 2.5. They've been very good inside the last couple of minutes. The thing that's really cost Brook have just been late goals to Deanmill. You take a couple of them away and we have a real game of it. Extracted away, Sparks into the middle, cruising on through. Repeat effort, gets his own kick back. Puts it to half forward, nice mark out on the lead. Demetriou.
He's been good today.
Outside 50, beyond his range, so he spots the kick up to Hall, who's in a much better position. Inside 50, he's got Sparks gliding on through, puts the kick up for Strawn to take a mark on the lead out in front. Near on, impossible to defend.
And as you said, James, those red-time goals that Deanmill have got throughout the whole game has probably been the difference in the game. Plus a couple of 50s, you take them away and Brook are right in it.
Strawn puts the icing on a very sweet cake for Deanmill. They'll be heading home happy tonight, and they'll start the season undefeated with a decent percentage.
They've been terrific all day, Deanmill, but so have Boyup. So it's been a really ripping game of footy for the first game of the year. Two clubs, two pretty proud clubs, very successful clubs, especially Boyup in the last 2 or 3 years. They've really got the chocolates as far as premierships go. They've got an outstanding leader in David Cowan, Ben Thompson, Riley. Mitch Kings has been an absolute sensational import for them. So you put a couple of their local players back in, young Thompson up forward who kicked 8 goals in last year's grand final, and all of a sudden they're a completely different team with a really solid spearhead.
Out to 31 points inside the final minute or so. They might have time for another one. The clearance from Sparks was solid to half forward. Reeves is lurking as his temper mowed down. It was crunched from behind. Umpire said play on, locked up. Umpire circles. We'll get a throw up. True centre half forward here for Deanmill. A chance to put it out to 37 points if they get a quick mark or a quick kick. But you feel the game deserves this sort of margin. 31 points reflects probably how the game's been played. Centre half forward, slapped forward. Sparks. Clever handball. Heard the voice of Demetriou. It was a little hot for him. Riley is at the bottom of the pack. And we'll have a stoppage. Back inside 50. Punched away from Hall. Bleachmore. Heard the voice. That was the voice of Demetriou. Handed it to Sparks. Was then locked up by a couple. As the time ticks away. A very impressive win for Deanmill. Run out winners by 31 points, 129 to 98 in an entertaining game of football. And in the end, the margin probably reflects how the game was played. It was the Hawks by 37 at quarter time, 33 at half time, 35 at three-quarter time, and in the end, it stays at that 5-goal marker. Nigel, positives for both sides.
Oh, absolutely. I think Deanmill have got a lot to work on. They're probably nearly at full strength today, but they've got 3 or 4 guys that are not familiar with the club and how the game style is, so they'll only be better for the run today. But they looked impressive. Cale, Strawn, Gianardi, So they all look good. Sparks is a Deanmill junior, but he's been away for quite a while now at East Perth and Kerry Park, so he'll just fit into our game style. And for Boyup, Brook, I mean, Kings, Cowan, Riley, Park, Thompson, you know, the stalwarts of that football club, terrific players. So I've still got Big Ty to come back in yet, who's their spearhead from last year's grand final. If Garstone comes back, a few others. So they take a lot of positives out of this. The opening quarter was just a whitewash. They failed to score a major, but after that, they were super impressive, super competitive, and matched it with Deanmill at each end of the ground. So for both teams, I know Deanmill get the 4 points, but Boyup Brook will take a lot out of that, saying, right, if we get our decent team back, our full team back, and add to these guys that are doing a lot of work for us, then all of a sudden we're right amongst it.
For a round one contest, very high scoring, 129 to 98. So both sides were potent up forward. As you mentioned, you take away that first quarter, and Boyup Brook are right in it. After sort of that quarter-time break, it was pretty even right across the board, so plenty of positives to be taken for Boyup Brook, and both sides seem like they'll be at the pointy end again.
Yeah, I think so, and they've been pretty strong clubs over the last 10 to 12 years, so it's good to see. I know Boyup, they really struggle sometimes to fill numbers, especially in the reserves, but they always get a team out there that are a terrific, well-run club, so they just keep on keeping on. I've got David Cowan back now. I know we've spoken a lot about him, and you add with him Mitch Kings and the Thompson boys, then they'll just keep on keeping on, and they'll be there at the pointy end of the season, and they'll look to go back to back, no doubt about it. They're the only team that can after winning last year, and that was a terrific grand final and a high scoring grand final. So they have the potency to score heavy as well once they get those players back. But if they can leave Cowan up forward, obviously it gives them potency. He kicked 4 goals in the last quarter, but they also need him in the middle. So he can't be everywhere, but he's not bad at doing that either.
It's pretty good. Did it at both ends through the middle. Kicked 5, as you mentioned. So overall, an enthralling game of football. Well done to Deanmill. They take the chocolates over Boyup Brook, set up largely by that 6-goal opening term, and from there they're able to just keep the momentum rolling throughout the game. They run out winners by 31 points. Been an impressive round one performance. Deanmill. Thanks very much for your company. Hope you enjoyed it. Plenty of footy still to come over the weekend on Filming Footy. Make sure you stay tuned there. But from here at Boyup Brook, it was the Hawks by 31 points.